Hey everyone, welcome to the Know Your Gear podcast number 239 on Black Friday. So we're all hanging out here instead of shopping, or maybe you've already done your shopping. I did my Black Friday shopping, I think. What I mean is I bought a pedal. That's about it. That was my big purchase last Friday. If you saw, I put a link. Do I still have it? Let me look if I have it. I think I have a link somewhere down there, and I think I called it the Real Deals. And like I said, you can find those at any retailer that carries those brands, but Sweetwater had them, so I put the Sweetwater link. I bought the small box pedal from Friedman because it was on sale for $169. And this actually where I wanted to talk about this is kind of funny. Before I purchased it, I was looking at it and I was like, okay, $169, it's on sale. I've been thinking about getting it since I have the small box amp from Friedman. Really love that amp. I was like, well, it'd be nice to see how well the pedal is compared to the amp, and then maybe even do a video, or just, maybe not. But what happened was I went on Reverb and I found some used ones for about $150. Everybody was asking about $150 plus shipping, and it dawned on me, and so that's why I want to share with you that I think I've been scarred by Reverb. And I know this is going to sound crazy to say, but I want to get it out there because sometimes when I talk, you guys don't relate, and sometimes when I talk, it's huge. You guys relate in a big way. I've had so many bad experiences purchasing used gear on Reverb over the last year to year and a half that it didn't even dawn on me until this weekend. I feel like it was the weekend, whatever, over the holiday, when I bought that pedal the other night. At the last minute, I just said screw it, and I went to Sweetwater, and I paid the new price, $169 plus tax. And it's because I just didn't want to take a chance anymore. I feel like I've been burned so many times on Reverb by sellers selling used. It's like, and I mean retailers too. There's been no safety in this. Good feedbacks, no bad feedbacks, but good feedbacks, independent sellers, retailers. My Reverb experiences overall have been to the point where I know I've said that I've had a couple bad experiences and those things went back. But what I left out of that was the guitars and things I have kept over the last year that I bought used off Reverb. I'm not really happy with them either. I just didn't have enough. I didn't feel it warranted enough complaint to do some kind of return or exchange or anything. I was like, I'll just suffer with it. Kind of like that, they missed a couple things that really I thought they should have mentioned, or it's not really what I would call in good condition, or, real good condition. To the point where it's been, I didn't think anything of it until, like I said, I could have saved about $20 to $30 buying the pedal used. And I was like, I just don't want to. And then I realized that the last 5 purchases I made, I did the same thing. I found them used, but instead I bought them new. So I've been buying new consistently whenever I find it on, a discount or a special, or asking for a deal. And there you go. So I think I'm a little reverbed out for a while. Like I said, I think and I think this is a fair assessment. Out of the last, let's say, 10 purchases on Reverb used, I'm only going off used gear, I don't think 9 of them turned out as good as I would hope. And maybe 2 of those 10 were bad enough to where it was just ridiculous. Yeah. So I'm curious. Let me know in the comments if you guys have had those kind of experiences. If not, let's say if you've had great experiences on Reverb, batting 1,000 perfect. Let everybody know that too. I don't want to make anybody weary or anything. I remember I don't have anything against Reverb. I've worked with them many times and I still like them. I've been buying new off Reverb. In fact, I bought something new off Reverb just recently, and from a dealer. And like I said, buying new, I've had no problems on Reverb. Stuff comes, it's, new, it ships, it's great. Used, I've had everything from sellers messaging me 5 days after I buy it saying, oh yeah, I'll be back in town next week and I'll get it out to you. And then it's 2 weeks since I bought it. Now they're shipping it, and that's not a horrible experience, but like I said, that was probably the best of those experiences. So, Tony Alto 1014 said, what pedal did I buy? I bought the small box by Friedman for $169 plus tax. So I bought that. And I used my own affiliate link with Sweetwater. Woohoo! So I got like not quite half the tax back, but you know, like some of the some of the tax. In fact, here's a funny story. I bought so you guys know we talked last week about the captor, doing a captor video versus the aux. I received a captor, so I have a captor now. And so the captor versus the aux video is definitely coming. However, in this kind of back and forth I did with these two units, I realized that there's something missing. I'm trying to decide if I want to tell you guys this. I'll tell you guys, since you guys hang out on the Friday show. There's something I think that I'm missing in this equation. And I had borrowed my buddy's Tone King Iron Man 2 attenuator that does 30 watts. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to buy one. And it's going to be in that video, that whole video. So the really video I'm going to be doing is going to involve the captor, the aux, the Cab M, and the Iron Man 2 by Tone King amps. And I decided to buy the 100 watt edition. And it made me laugh because Z Sounds had it in stock. Sweetwater didn't have it in stock. Z Sounds had it in stock. Like I said, they're all 15% off because that's coming from the manufacturer. So it's any dealer. When I went on Reverb, Z Sounds was the only dealer I found listing one new with the discount, 15% off. And I used my Reverb link. And this is no joke. That thing's expensive. It's like, I think even with the discount and everything, it was over $700. And we figured out, me and my buddy were talking, and we figured out my affiliate link because we could see it in real time, because I get, obviously with you guys, I don't know who's buying what with the affiliate links, but me, I saw the purchase amount. And of course I made the purchase. I saw it, and it was enough to go buy a cup of coffee. That's to give you a reference how much Reverb's paying out those affiliates. I can go get a coffee. Now I'm saying coffee with tip. So coffee with tip for me is like $5, right? 'Cause it's like $3.80, I think, for a large coffee now at the coffee shops. And then you got to tip like $1 or something. So I just $5. So $5. All right, there's my tangent. I'd like to start the show by saying I want to do something fun on this. This is going to be hopefully more fun than anything else. The whole Black Friday thing is to have some fun. And we're going to do some giveaways. I have stuff around me to give away, some cool stuff. The first giveaway was to... first winner. Okay. Mr. Fancy Hands. Mr. Fancy Hands was the very first comment on today's show. So Mr. Fancy Hands came down, put a comment. The comment was, "Good evening, Phil. Hope you're good, man. Looking forward to the show." Mr. Fancy Hands, I have a bunch of stuff. Some of this stuff was given to me, just specifically given to me, so I can do whatever I want with it, and I'm going to essentially re-gift it, I guess, is how you would say that. And some of the stuff was given to me, so I would do giveaways. Believe it or not, I'll be giving away a guitar crate today. I'll be giving away a nice pedal today. And Gene at PRS reached out to me a couple weeks ago and said that they want to promote their accessories on their shop on PRS. And she asked me if she could send me some accessories and then I could talk about them. She said, on Instagram, wherever I could. And I said, well, why don't you just send me a bunch of stuff and I'll do giveaways with it. And then that way we'll have a discussion, but more importantly, we'll give some giveaways. She said, okay. So Mr. Fancy Hands, what did you win? I have no idea what this stuff is worth, but I'm going to guess not a little. The first thing you're going to get, Mr. Fancy Hands, is the new Paul Reed Smith clip-on tuner that's rechargeable. I think these are like $40-50, so that'll be going to you. And what else are you going to get? You're going to get the Paul Reed Smith cleaning kit. So hopefully you have a Paul Reed Smith, but if you don't, this stuff works on guitars. You can put it on a Gibson, a Fender. It'll be all the same. So you know, it's pretty cool. It's guitar polish, guitar cleaner, tongue oil. I'm curious, does it come with a polish cloth? It does not. I'll make sure you get a microfiber cloth with it. I'll put this in. Everything is going to go to my wife to ship out. She's been kind enough to, she's well enough now. She's shipping again. If you guys want, at the end of the show, I'll give you updates with her and what's going on. But either way, she's gonna be kind enough to ship this stuff out. Some of you guys who won stuff in the past, especially one of my moderators hasn't got their stuff yet. We're totally aware. In fact, I think she shipped it today, and she'll send you tracking numbers, so she's up to date. So, Mr. Fancy Hands, you won a guitar cleaning kit and a clip-on tuner from Paul Reed Smith. Da, da, da. And for the rest of you, you'll have to go on their website and buy it. So there you go. Very cool. Like I said, more stuff to give away. I'll just be doing it randomly throughout the show for fun. Because why not? For fun. Other than that, everybody should have had, if you're in the United States, hopefully you should have had Thanksgiving yesterday or Friendsgiving or whatever you want to call it. My Thanksgiving went a little sideways. Like I said last week, we're having a run of bad luck. The bad luck continued. Our big plan for Thanksgiving, we're thinking about going and see some family and doing some stuff like that. We had that in our sights, and we were going to make a decision the last minute. But the other thing we're thinking about doing was going and seeing Ghostbusters on Thanksgiving Day and having dinner and stuff. And long story short, my daughter has the flu. Yeah, she came home sick from school on Tuesday. They even gave her an instant COVID test, which she didn't have COVID. But she has the flu really bad. So, of course, we have to isolate ourselves, or we are isolating ourselves from people. So, yep. So, and then because she wasn't feeling well, we did this. They did it. You know what? The girls did a fantastic job. We did an ad hoc Thanksgiving dinner. It was just the four of us, my two kids, me and my wife. We threw something together. I say we. They threw something together. I decided, since everything went to crap, I decided I'd just work. So I worked and hopefully made some money, and they and they did all the stuff. But it was a very small Thanksgiving dinner, and it was very nice. It's very, very cool. All right, that's my update on that. All right, we're probably going to get to some questions, and then we'll do some more giveaways. Let's see, what should we do? We should, let me scroll through. I know I have super chats, and like I said, when I have super chats, they don't go anywhere. So let's hold off those for a second. Also, too, if anyone wants to tell me that somebody was saying that there's somebody that kind of hacked my account and is putting comments in some of the videos. What they did is they duplicated the account. In other words, they made a Phil McKnight account. So, you know, that stuff, it gets flagged and filtered out. It just takes YouTube a little while to do it. So if you're seeing comments from me that seem strange, first of all, realize that it's 1 in a million when I make comments on my own channel. So keep in mind, so it's just rare if you even see me making a comment. And obviously, if I make a comment, it makes a lot of sense what I'm doing, because it's usually something like, you know, a thank you. Usually that's what I usually spend the time doing. If I get any comments out there, it's thank you. So if you ever see anybody that says Phil McKnight with my icon commenting anything other than thank you or something like that, just go ahead and assume it's not me. Obviously, I'm not going to go, hey, man, let's get on this weird phone call. So there you go. All right. Telly Driver says, Phil, what's the t-shirt logo? Stand up and show us. This is that limited edition. We did the Know Your Tone with the Tone Kings channel. Remember, Tone King and I have done 2 runs of these shirts. I call them mashup shirts. I believe that's what they're called when people do them for, like, when they mash up 2 things, genres, like maybe, you know, Transformers and He-Man or, you know, Superman, Spider-Man thing. I don't know if those are actual things that get mashed up, but you understand what I'm saying. It's two entities, and then they kind of overlay them. This was the kind of thing I did. I did a few of these. I've said this before. I've done a few of these with some other channels. The Tone King was the only channel that really kind of, like, when I did it, was like, this is cool. Let's make this available. So we made it available. But the other channels, you know, they wanted to keep it more private. So that's okay. So, but I've done a couple of these. Maybe I'll do some more in the future. I don't know. Like I said, I always like the idea. It's kind of fun. That cues me into it's Black Friday, so of course I put a 20% off merch thing till the 1st. Don't feel compelled to buy merch. Actually, so you know, I only did it because when I was updating the description in the show today, I was like, I felt weird not doing it, if that makes any sense. So I put a 20% off coupon on merch. I will tell you this. I also put in the link in there. Oh, let me share it with you guys. Let me go to the web. There you go. This is the links to today's video. And of course, I'm just letting you know some of the giveaway companies I'm doing with. By the way, don't forget, if you didn't see yesterday, the video that I did where Sweetwater sent me an $1,800 Bose PA system, they sent this thing to me to give away. So, Sweetwater, obviously, like I told you guys months ago, are actively working with as many channels as possible, and they're actively out there advertising as much as possible. Because, like I said, I've told you guys that was my prediction, right? They're going to really start hammering on that, and it seems to be so far I've been right. But what I'm trying not to do is just kind of browbeat everybody with Sweetwater stuff. But more importantly, it's nice to get gear on the channel to do these videos. But necessarily, I don't need every video to be like, look what Sweetwater sent me this week. And so, who I really appreciated the most was Robert Baker doing guitar giveaways. And I'd like to hopefully participate in some more of those. If you guys know, I did the D'Angelico giveaway. So when I've talked to the Sweetwater guys, I've mentioned, like, I really like the idea of, like, reviewing nice things and then giving them away. That's a very cool thing to do. And what I learned is, Oh yeah, you're still looking at my website. No, you're looking at me. Okay, what I learned was Sweetwater gives the product to me now. That's how it works. So when this PA system was given to me, it's mine. Okay, legally, it's mine, and I can do whatever I want with it. So I'm doing the giveaways. Sweetwater, of course, is supplying the product, but I'm doing the giveaways, and that means that I can ship them anywhere in the world I want. Sweetwater, of course, because they're a big corporation, they gotta deal with all the laws and regulations and stuff. I'm just a dude. I don't need to really, you know what I mean. I don't need to know what the laws in Zimbabwe is. You know what I mean? If you win it, you can have it. Like I said, I can't pay duties and taxes. I don't even know how to figure that stuff out. So, but I'll ship it anywhere in the world. So that PA, man, and obviously, hopefully a gigging musician is going to get it, a working musician. But if you think, if you got this, you would go out and play music with it, that's all I care about. Enter to win it. Like I said, click the link, enter to win. That's it. There you go. I'm using a program called King Sumo. It's like a lot of these softwares where it does the randomizer picking for me and it tracks all the stats for me, but I'm not paying for the service. I haven't decided if I'm going to pay for the service. So the only downfall right now is King Sumo, I guess, will send you crap, emails like, that you can put in your spam thing. If we continue to do this, I'll pay for King Sumo services. It's like StreamYard. If you don't pay for it, you get the watermark on the corner of the screen. And if you pay for it, you don't. King Sumo is the same way. I'll start paying for the service. And then therefore, you don't have to worry about them spamming you with stupid stuff later. But like I said, enter to win that. Also keep in mind, let me go to this. I wanted to show you this. Don't forget that tomorrow, Saturday, is Small Business Saturday. Okay, if you don't know that. And so I put some small businesses. These are businesses that I've actually bought stuff and had good experiences. So Flipside Music, Eddie's Guitars, Chuck Levin's, Zim's Guitars. Zim's doesn't have a website, so I put his Facebook. All four of these stores, I've had a good experience, and I've bought gear, and I've gotten a great deal and service from. So, that's why I'm doing it. They're not sponsoring or anything like that. There's no affiliate links to those guys. It's just, I don't want you to forget the small guys. If you have stores you like, just go to those stores, suggest those stores. You know what I mean? I can only suggest stores I frequent, and those are the ones I did. And I know all four of those places for a fact. If you were to get them on the phone or go in there personally on this deal-making weekend, they're going to give you a deal. A legit deal, not some put the stuff they can't sell in the column and say that's the Black Friday list. This is like, you really want this guitar amp, and ask them for a deal. I'm sure they'll give 10, 15% off, whatever. You know what I mean? They'll give you a free t-shirt. They'll buy you a beer. I don't know, but they'll do something. They'll be real deals. So I find if you really want deals on Black Friday, you go to the small dealers. If you're looking for an actual physical deal, those guys are going to wheel and deal. The big companies, they're going to have preset deals. So, all right. Okay, let's get to some actual questions, right? And like I said, Grumpy Mike said, please buy small, buy local. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm on the internet, and because of that, it's so easy to tell you guys to go to the internet. And like I said, and that's why I mention it all the time, but I always like to remember over and over again, if I can, please support those small businesses, especially when it's in your best interest. Like I said, those dealers will give you deals. And if they don't, then let me know, and I won't suggest them anymore. But like I said, they've taken care of me. And I can tell you for a fact, 2 of those dealers I bought from, and they don't know it's me. and they gave me deals because I told you I have an alias, but my alias, so you know, is just my wife's maiden name, and I use her account, and I have her do it. So they don't know, it's not Mrs. McKnight, obviously. So they don't know I ever bought stuff, and they treat me great. And I actually find that to be the biggest, the biggest test. I don't need anybody going, oh, this guy's got a YouTube channel and let's give him an extra deal. And then when you guys contact him, that deal was only for apparently YouTubers or some crap. I want it to actually be a legitimate deal. So, okay, we need to get some questions though and talk about some guitar content. Otherwise, I've been talking too much about Black Friday stuff. Well, it is a Black Friday show. Okay, this is a question. I just want to answer it. It's Brown Fox says, how hard is it for a noob to refinish a Bullet Squier to get it to look like a road-worn Ventura? It's going to be tough. That polyurethane is sprayed on caked on pretty hard. Like I said, it's like an M&M coating, and so you're going to be sanding a while. First of all, you're going to be sanding through tons of clear coat, all that plastic polyurethane clear coat or polyester, whatever they use, because they could use either one. It can be done. I mean, so it's not hard. Is not difficult of the figuring out. It's not hard in the difficulty of the technique. It's labor intensive. You're going to be sanding through a lot of finish, and if you use you could probably get away with a power sander for a little while. But the problem with the power sanders are sometimes, if you catch them just right, they burn right through that finish so fast, and then you think, okay, well, it's going to be relic, so it's okay, but it's not. It's got a very mechanical, very fake-looking sand mark on it. So you can do it. It's just not as easy as if you had a lacquer finish or if you had something with a thin finish on it, like I said. And then also sometimes, no matter what you do when you sand on those poly finishes, it's like you got to have a buffer. If you don't have a buffer, it gets a little tricky. And here's why. Because when you sand on them, they just never get, they get satin looking, but up close, you can see all the sanding marks in them. So you kind of buff all that sanding marks out. So, I mean, it's a Bullet Squier. I mean, it's not a huge investment. I'm just letting you know it's a lot of work. And yes, I've done it before. I've never done it for anything for me. I've kind of like volunteering for help a friend move. I've done a couple times where a friend's like, oh, I've done a weird project like that. And I'm like, I'll help. And next thing you know, we're sitting there. By the way, I will tell you, Brown Fox, please go to Home Depot and buy one of those respirator units. At the very least, wear a mask and goggles. I'm not kidding. That stuff, your throat will be sore and burn from those fumes. It's not only because it's toxic, it's just really horrible. So definitely, like I said, that because you're creating a lot of that stuff. Definitely do it in a ventilated area and wear a mask and some protective gear. And that's not just me trying to do a disclaimer for liability purposes. I really telling you that's some serious stuff. You need it. It's not just a passing thing I'm telling you. Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, Brown Fox says, okay, thank you. So the answer is better to start off with a kit guitar and put on an aerosol nitro. I will tell you this. This kid taught me this. I say kid, he could have been 15 or 18-ish, but this was years ago. And now there's YouTube videos, but this is long enough to go where there was probably YouTube videos, but he didn't find it. What he did was ingenious. He made a John Mayer Relic Black Strat out of a kit guitar. And what he did, I thought was so smart. What he did was he took the body that was just wood, no finish, and he used painter's tape. I don't know why. Painter's taped off. He used painter's tape to tape off the spots that he knew wasn't going to have any finish. And then he sprayed the black lacquer spray paint over that and then started sanding on it and stuff and then peeled that stuff off and then aged that. And he did it reverse and it was ingenious and it looked great. So yeah, I would definitely start with a kit guitar body. I would just start with a kit guitar, sure, for something like that. You may be able to just buy a body that, is unfinished and throw that Squier neck on there. It'll bolt on. You only need to pay attention to is the width of the neck, the base of the neck, because if it's too narrow, you'll have a little gap. You'll have to do some adjusting for that. But yeah, kit guitar, I would go that route. Okay. I'm not old. I'm not old. I'm vintage. By the way, your Guitar Crate pack, my wife sent today. So so I don't know if she sent you a tracking number, but she sent it today. So I just thought I'd let you know, so you have that to look forward to. Okay. Okay. Originals Fly says, "Hey Phil, I was curious if you have any experience reshaping a guitar neck. I hate the D-shaped neck, but I love the hard V. Was curious if you had tips." Yeah, I've reshaped many necks. You're doing it the hardest way though. Going from the D to the V shape is a little tricky because I've never done a V shape. See, the way I like to shape necks usually is just use your hand. And then it's going to be perfect, right? Because you're gonna get this. In fact, usually when you do it, you get a very asymmetrical kind of shape to the neck if you use your hand. And sometimes I've used a little foam pad and then the sandpaper in my hand, and it works really great. But a soft V or a V shape would be a little different because of that. You may need some kind of jig or something, and you can make that. Just you need something to hold the shape while you're sanding on the neck. But you can definitely do it. The only thing I will caution you when sanding necks, and this is something that you don't have to overly worry about, but you need to be concerned about, is you need to know how deep the truss rod is set into the neck and how much space after the truss rod between the back of the neck. This is usually not a big deal if it's a thick neck. And in your case, you're going to do a V neck or either a soft V or hard V neck, where you're going to have a little bit of the meat, I guess, of the wood behind the truss rod. You're not really sanding it thin down. But when you're thinning necks down, you have to worry about that, because I've seen this happen about once, but once is enough. I saw somebody sand their neck down to thin it down, and it was great. And then they went to make a truss rod adjustment, and it cracks. It cracked the back of the neck because the truss rod, when it pushed, it didn't have, the wood was just super thin, and it cracked it. I think that was kind of a 1 in a million thing to happen to that guy, but I just want to caution you, I've seen that. So, okay. All right, let me switch around. How are we doing? We're doing great on time. Although I want to stay, you know what? I'm going to do some super chats. But before I do them, let's do Guitar Crate. Okay, so we're going to give away a Guitar Crate today. They sent me the one for November. I didn't get a chance to open it last week, so I'm going to open it. Why? Because I'm curious. They sent it. I'm curious. All right, so I'm opening the Guitar Crate. Let's see what came in this month's. Oh, it's got a little letter now. It says, this is something we talked about, me and TJ, so I'm glad he's doing it. I said you need to put a little stuff in there. It says, "Congratulations on your November crate. We want to welcome our new partner this month, Black Mountain Picks, with a very..." Hey, by the way, I connected those people. I connected Cole at Black Mountain Picks to TJ at Guitar Crate. See, that's what's great when we all kind of meet and things happen. So Black Mountain Picks with a very cool and innovative thumb pick. Be sure to also take time to register for our free course on how to use your thumb pick. For those receiving plus boxes, we wanted to show you the new capo. Oh, this is cool. So this is really cool, TJ. TJ and Pete adding a little letter there. Glad they took my suggestion. Was I was like, hey, because instead of just getting the box, I said, why don't you make it more communal experience? Like I said, make the community. Let them know what's going on. Give them updates, what's going on, what's exciting. Okay, so what's in this box is some 10 to 46 D'Addarios, which I love. D'Addario capo, but I've never seen this one. This one's like bronze looking color. That's cool. I like that. All mine are kind of boring and just black. We have, a pick holder. What is that? What is it? Yeah. So a D'Addario accessories pick holder. Oh. By the way, this is going to go to one of the moderators. Black Mountain thumb pick. Check that out. As you guys know, we know Cole. A lot of you guys bought some of these. I saw, because Cole's a cool guy. He's a guitar teacher turned into entrepreneur. Of course, a Music Nomad screwdriver. And also, this is also like a socket wrench. These things are badass. Just Music Nomad is just badass. So you know, love them. And then we got some free thumb pick. The course for Black Mountain picks. We got a thank you for so more stuff for obviously because Black Mountain's like the new product for this month. They put a lot of information in there about it. And then the informational card stuck at the bottom. I want to make sure there's nothing underneath it. Nope. For that tool, let you know all the stuff you can do with it. And this box will be going to a moderator. So I'll be giving it to one of my moderators to say thank you. And like I said, I'll throw some of my extra swaggy stuff in there, like I did for I'm not old, I'm not vintage. I'm not old, I'm vintage. So like I said, the whole concept behind these guys, so you know, is you subscribe and every month you get $45 worth of stuff. And it's just like you get some stuff. It's nice to get a gift, but I really wanted to highlight them for one reason in particular this holiday. They have these gift boxes where you can send this to somebody. It's called a gift box. So if you go to their website, I thought that was really cool. A lot of people don't know what to send somebody. If you're like me, I'm in the music business, so to speak, and sometimes I need to send gifts to colleagues, and I'm like, I don't know, what do I send? What do you send them? And stuff like this is cool because I can just send them something and then they, it takes the stress off me. I'm not a big gift card person. Adam Carolla once said it was money with rules. That's kind of how I feel about it too. It's like, I'm not giving you money. I'm going to give you this money, but you can only spend it where I just said you can. So there you go. So let's give away a guitar crate right now. And, yeah, William, hold on. I want to talk about this. William said Guitar Crate was cool for a while, but eventually I started getting doubles of stuff, so I had to pause for a while. And I totally think that's cool. And, believe it or not, TJ usually doesn't get to watch the show live, so he'll watch the rebroadcast. That's why I wanted to talk about this, because that's something I told him. This is why I gave him suggestions on putting the newsletters in there, getting new products. I think Guitar Crate's main concern was they want to use a lot of brand name power so you don't feel like you're getting all these off the wall brands. But I was telling them like, no, you need new stuff. You've got to keep it exciting. And so thank you for that feedback, William, because I think they have a good idea. And I think that good idea can be a great idea. You know what I mean? And like I said, I want to help them out. They're young guys. They're entrepreneurs. They're just trying to send people something to make their lives a little cooler. They actually, because they're a small business, it's hard for them right now to give you like what I think they really need to. We all know what they need. They need $60 worth of stuff for about $45 or $45 worth of stuff for $25. In other words, you need to get more than what you're spending and then get some variety of cool things. And that comes with time. They got to work on that. So feedback is crucial to these guys because I think they got the horsepower. In other words, they're working hard to do this. So let's give it away to somebody. I'm just perusing comments. Now I'm perusing old comments right now. In fact, look, I'll let you know what my dogs. Look, that's me talking right now. Let me move this over. And let's see. What I'm now doing is going into old comments instead of trying to find somebody who says they want it now. Let's see if they can find somebody. Okay. I don't know what I'm looking for. Oh, you know what? I love that. Ellen, good friends help you move. Great friends help you move a body. That's a great joke. Ellen, you just won a Guitar Crate for having a great joke. So Ellen, please send me an email to pmcknight7@gmail.com. It's also, it should be in the description, but either way, it's the only, or you can do Ask Know Your Gear. Just any of the ways to get to me. Ellen, let me know that you won the Guitar Crate, and I will send that to TJ so they can send you out. You'll get December's Guitar Crate, so you'll get it in a few weeks, but you'll get a Guitar Crate. Okay? There you go. And for no reason whatsoever, I just picked Matt Harrison as my moderator to get the Guitar Crate. Why? Because his name was like right there, around there where I saw it. So Matt, send me an email. Let me know because you won this one, and I'll throw some KYG. I'll throw some KYG stickers in there. Look at that, stuff like that. My wife just had these made, and stuff like that. And I'll throw that stuff in there so you get that. I'm going to throw in some Maricola cough drops. some of these in there. He thinks I'm probably kidding. One of those dummies plugs. There you go. So Matt, you're gonna get a bunch of stuff. I told you guys I really need to humor myself. All right, let's get to work. All right, giveaways are fun, but they're not probably fun to watch the rebroadcast. So let's get to work. Dan Brown wants to know, how do GFS Guitar Fetish pickups stack against bigger brands? I've had good luck with Guitar Fetish pickups. I've heard a few of you guys say you didn't like them. The ones I've put in guitars for customers, or I've acquired and put in guitars, have been fine. I have no issue with them. Quality-wise, seem fine. So what I think is, it's in my head, but I think a lot of you probably think this way. They feel and sound like production pickups to me. You know what I mean? They don't feel like high vibe high expensive boutique-y pickups. But that isn't what matters. What matters is how they sound, and they sound fine. Like, I haven't had any issue with them myself. Like I said, I haven't tried all of them. I've tried a few. And like I said, mostly in customers' guitars. But this is always a good time for other people to kind of give you suggestions. They're pretty good for the price, though. Pickups are one of those things. When they're in the less expensive range, it's not as scary to, even if you're budget conscious, it's not as scary to try them. Also, I always like to remind you, Dan, and this is something I always like to say, whenever you're looking at budget pickups, which is really common, I always got to remind you, just like when you're looking at budget guitars and budget amps, don't forget used, especially in pickups. Pickups are really super easy, to get used. So you can get some used set, especially since you don't have to really go on Reverb or eBay. You can find those a lot of times on Craigslist or in music stores. Just walk in and go to a guitar repair shop and say, do you have any used Duncans or DiMarzios, or, you know what I mean? Any kind of pickups. And they have them all the time. And to me, if it's $40 for a off-brand pickup, and you can get a name brand pickup, or a quality pickup that the brand of, for not much more of the same used, think about that. Consider it. So that's something I would suggest also. Litface says, how should I clean metal parts on my Dobro style import instrument, preferably without special products? What I would tell you, Litface, is whenever, if you don't have access to special products, obviously most products tell you what they're good for. So they'll say it's safe for chrome, or for nickel, or for stainless steel, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of cleaning materials that tell you what they're fine for. Everything that's on a guitar isn't different than anything else. You know what I mean? So if you're cleaning polyester finishes, polyurethane, if you're cleaning nitro, if you're cleaning nickel brass, you can find all those kind of materials that clean those type of materials on these instruments, because like I said, it's not special. But if you're ever nervous about it, I always tell everybody, you can just use a 100% cotton, 100% flannel, or a microfiber cloth, and just clean anything with that. I have great luck with that. I tend to try to use as little cleaning materials and polishing materials as possible when dealing with instruments. Just I don't find I need to. So, there you go. Glenn says, thank you, Phil, for the confidence I now have in doing setups and fret polishing. I am playing more now and enjoying it more than ever. To do my first pickup swap soon. Also picked up a 93 Gibson Les Paul Studio, and I love it. Thank you. Well, that's awesome. First on the, thank you for the compliments. And of course, the 93 Les Paul Studio is awesome. And yeah, your first pickup swap. I think the first pickup swap is exciting. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. To this day, when I work on electronics, I find that to be exciting more than anything else, because I know it's not about you're going to mess it up. It's just about you're going to have to redo it a couple times if you do something wrong, where it doesn't carry the same sense of stress that other things happen. When you sand on things, when you cut on things, when you polish on things, you can do stuff that really puts you in a kind of paint you in a corner of problems, where soldering a lot of times, you're like, oh, this is not working the way it is. Let's go back and figure this out again. So I think the pickup swap, if you mastered the other stuff or got that stuff down, pickup swaps, definitely not going to be hard. That's so good for you. Craig says, hey, Phil, just got my first Mesa, an F50, and I love it. 15 years without tubes. How do I know if I should be retubed? Okay, great question, by the way. And if so, should I buy a Mesa branded tubes because it's fixed bias? Yeah, if you have a Mesa, that's the beauty. It's not about you should. That's the beauty of Mesa Boogies, is that you don't have to have them biased or anything. You just buy their tubes. So yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, buy Mesa Boogie tubes if you have a Mesa Boogie, because that's one of the cool things I think Mesa Boogie did is, you know, all their tubes are ready to go for their amps. So there you go. I'm sure you could go to like Tubes and More and all those kind of places, and they'll have alternative tubes that you can give you. But no, buy Mesa tubes. Now, on that part, let's get to the first part, which is your question, which is how do you know? How do I know if I should be retubed? I have talked to at least 5, and I'm not exaggerating, 5 different amplifier makers that I'm friends with, who do not know, none of the 5 know each other, and they all have the same answer. So I've decided that I like the answer for that reason that I'm giving you. They all say it, and they don't know each other, so it's not like they're, saying that regurgitating each other's comments. If your amp turns on and it works and it's not doing anything wrong, don't retube it. Basically, you fix it when it's broken. So if it's making a sound, if the tube's microphonic, if you're having issues with the amp, retube it. I was very specific to every time I've asked this, like, well, what if, what if I think I'm not getting the max out of the amp? And they're like, yeah, well then you'd have to know that. You know what I mean? Do you know that for sure? So my personal policy for retubing my amps and putting tubes in my amps is that when the tubes are defective or the amp is doing something defective like crackling, dropping, volume, or the overall volume isn't working, because that sometimes happens with power tubes, is, you crank your amp and you're just not getting any volume. If you don't have issues, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Actually, I think 2 of them said exactly like that, so I'll just say it like that. So Grumpy Guitar Mike said, after all these years, I still want a dual rec. You know what? A great amp is the Mini Recto Verb or the Mini Rec. It's a great amp for if you want to get that out of your system. You can pick up the Mini Recs usually for good money, even in today's market. If you wait it out, Grumpy Mike, go out there and look and wait it out just right. You'll find one for the right price. It's sub $1,000. So, like I said, sometimes you can find a dual rec for sub $1,000 too, but the Mini Rec is tameable. the dual recs are great, but man, they need to breathe. They gotta, they want to be loud to sound good. The Cookie Thief, great name. Shipping electric guitar collection to Sydney, Australia from Tucson via shipping container, 4 to 6 months to arrive. I don't know how to say it. Desiccant packs. I know what you're talking about. Those silicone packs in the cases. Yeah, definitely do that. How many per case? Detune them by how much? Here's the thing. I don't think you have to worry about anything other than just keeping them dry. It's the moisture that's going to be the biggest problem. Detune the guitars. Here's what I would do. Okay, so again, let me just tell you, because I don't ship things via container, so I can't give you like a great answer for that. I can only tell you what I would do if I was in your situation, and based on my experience. I would definitely, in this case, I would probably detune the guitars a half step to full step. Why? I don't know. just out of, nervousness from being in the container for that period of time and the climate changes that are going to be happening. Because it's going to go from dry to Tucson to wet to the ocean to dry to Australia. But I would definitely put a piece of cardboard or something, a sheet of paper on between the frets and the strings. So slide that underneath there and keep that. So that way that will help keep those two metals away from each other from touching or corroding or scratching the frets. And then, I would put in some of those silicone, whatever you call it, the desiccant packs in there. How many? I don't know. I don't know. Usually see for acoustics, this stuff ships around the world. The way it ships, usually you only see 1 or 2 packs per case or per guitar. So I would say 1 or 2 per guitar would be enough. And that's about it. All you're really worried about is really the corrosion. You know what I mean? You don't want things to corrode too much if they're sitting in the ocean. And then to be honest with you, if I was me and they were in cases, I would not wrap the guitars in plastic, but I would wrap the cases in plastic. So guitars into cases, cases into plastic. And I would bag the cases, seal them, and put them in the boxes. That's how I would do it. If it's wrong, I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm telling you, if it was my guitars, that's exactly how I would do that. And there you go. Kay Monroe says, "Hey Phil, what is the best way to refret a phenolic fretboard? I'm not afraid of wood, but synthetics are out of my realm of knowledge. I have refretted one phenolic fretboard ever in my life. It was a bass guitar. And like you, I was a little nervous by it. It worked exactly and felt exactly like ebony to me. So if you've never refretted an ebony fretboard, it's already going to be the same problem as that. What it is it's brittle like ebony. So it's a little tricky, okay? Because usually what you want to do is you heat up the frets a little bit with a soldering iron. You just kind of run it over the top of the frets. The difference is the phenolic resin, it's not going to melt, but it can warp or it can get misshapen or have issues if you get it too warm, where you don't have to deal with that with wood. So you don't want to superheat the frets. You don't want to do that, period. But I mean, just when I say superheat, you just don't want to make sure they get too hot. Just warm them up a little bit. And you're going to take the chance that they did super glue those into the phenolic resin. So keep that in mind. That's, again, just like if it was wood. But I can tell you right now, if you've ever done an ebony fretboard, it was exactly the same. Because that's where I basically had to refret. A customer wanted a phenolic resin base refretted. And so, in that case, actually, I said I did one. It's actually I did two. Here's why. The bass that they had me do was a very expensive $4,000 or $5,000 bass. And so what I did was I took a Squier phenolic resin bass and pulled the frets from that. And that one I didn't refret. I just pulled the frets. And then that one, because I was doing it for the testing, for the training of it, I made that a fretless, and I did maple Phillip, maple lines in it. And then I epoxied it and did that. But and then I did the bass. But like I said, it was just like ebony. But yes, I can understand why you're nervous. I wouldn't be overly nervous. Just like I said, just remember it's gonna feel a lot like wood, more than you probably think it's gonna be. But it will chip out easy, which is what sucks. Like ebony. Hold on. I think Dan Brown asked me the question twice today. He did. So he threw me off. Okay. Heavy in Hawaii says, thanks for all your great podcasts. What do you think of the Synergy modules? Do you think they might come out with a high gain modules like a Recto and a 65 amp? I thought I saw them, not a 65, but I thought I saw them doing something in the high gain Recto. I would imagine they would. I mean, I would imagine Synergy will release all the modules that essentially Randall had and Ignator had. I mean, when I say that, I mean, I don't think they'll get a licensing deal with with Mesa Boogie or PV or 6505 would actually be EVH. I don't think they'll get a licensing deal with them, but I could be wrong. Avi's a smart guy. He could probably pull it off, but I remember, if you guys remember when they were Randall modules, I think the original one I think was called Recto. No, it was called Rectified. Rectified was the thing, and Mesa Boogie sent him cease and desist, and they were like, well, rectified is an amplification term, so you can't, and they're like, nope, they cease and desist him. So then they changed it, I think, to Recto, and then that had changed to tread plate. So I know it won't be called anything close to anything Mesa Boogie. They'll have to call it like tread plate or something like that. So yeah, I think they would eventually do it. I couldn't see why not. I think that's their plan, right? Is to sell everybody as many of those modules as possible, and you'll want to collect all the amps. That being said, the other part of your question, what do I think of the Synergy modules? I have not tried a single Synergy module. I have owned, one of the Randall module units and owned about a dozen of the Randall modules, and they were very good, but they were the single channels. They weren't the dual channels like Ignator did, which is now Synergy. So these are probably a little more high end than what the Randall ones were, as my understanding. Excuse me. Pardon me. I would have hit the mute button. It just happened too quick. At one point they asked me about sending me a Synergy unit and doing some videos with it. And then that, nothing came from that. And then of course now they've had the fire and all that stuff. So I'm not seeing a whole lot. They can't do a whole lot now, I'm sure, with marketing. But that being said, I would love to check them out and do videos on them. They look really interesting. Obviously, I did an interview with Steve I, and he loves his. we talked quite a bit about his modules. So, but with no experience of them, I don't know what to tell you. I couldn't tell you if they sound like tube amps, if they sound real, if they sound good. You know what I mean? And I would hate to say anything that I thought of the Randall modules, good or bad, because I don't know how much of that connects to the new modules. So. Antique Rocker says 3 pickup guitars can have 7 pickup combinations. Are there guitars with all 7? Yes, there is, of course. It says, can a strap be wired so that the bridge, middle, and neck and bridge neck sections replace the neck? Yeah, of course, all that stuff. You don't even have to do, don't even have to do fancy wiring. They make special switches that do all that stuff. So you can do fancy wiring on guitars, 3 pickup guitars, to do all kinds of combinations of wiring, whether that's with push pulls or toggle switches, little dip switches or whatever you want to call them. You can do all that stuff. There's tons of wiring schematics and there's tons of ways to do that stuff. And then there's just switches that do a lot of those combinations. So like they sell a 6-way switch. Is that correct? Yep. 6-way switch. And then of course you can use a push pull. And usually the idea of a push pull or the other switch will be to kind of turn on a pickup. So for instance, if you have the neck and middle on, you can hit this button and then your bridge turns on, and that's all 3. And then of course you go to the neck position, you push that button and it brings the bridge back on, and then you'll have the neck and the bridge. So absolutely it can be done. If you go to, I don't know where else besides Stu Mac, I'm sure they sell them other places, but on Stu Mac, if you look at the 6-way switches and stuff, they have all kinds of switches that do that exact thing. In one of my guitars, I have a 6-way switch, and I absolutely love it. It's badass. Yep. I'm like thinking about it, going 1, 2, 3, switch it. Yeah, so 6. Yep. And then, like I said, if you need the 7th thing, you can use a push pull for that. And then, of course, that's just one way, but there's a ton of ways to do it. But yeah, absolutely, you can wire up a guitar like that to have any combinations of pickups and even out of phase, in phase conversions, all that stuff. I mean, you can get pretty crazy with wiring, and it's pretty straightforward stuff nowadays. I mean, back in the day, that was a tricky thing. You have to find somebody to do it. Now, there is tons of schematics out there. You just find what you have, find the schematic, Google search the schematic, pull it up, and then wire it up and go. And that's if, in most cases there's all kinds of pre-wired packages. I mean, there's, like I said, there's tons of, even if you can't do soldering, can't do all that stuff, there's all kinds of pre-wired pre-wired parts now, so that you don't even have to know how to do that stuff. It'll just drop in ready. So from all kinds of companies. Matthew says, hey, Phil, take advantage of any good Black Friday deals. Oh, he's asking me if I did. Guitar related otherwise. So happy belated Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. I'm saying Thanksgiving. Like, is that how you say things? Happy Thanksgiving. I'm like, Thanksgiving. It's happy Thanksgiving. I did. I bought a, from Sweetwater, I bought the Friedman small box pedal. And then from Z Sounds, because Sweetwater was out of stock, I bought the Tone King Ironman 200 watt attenuator, and which is, I just wanted that because to be honest with you, for everything I need it for, I borrowed my buddy's 30 watt and it worked perfect. So I would highly recommend for the $300 and change, everybody get the 30 watt if that's all you need. If you all have if you have a bunch of 30 watt, even a 40 watt amp, you could probably push around on that. But if you have lower wattage amps, go for that. I don't have a whole lot of 100 watt amps, obviously, but on the channel, I didn't want to have it. And then somebody sent an amp out one day and I'm like, so I just said, screw it. I'll just pay the double to get the 100 watt unit. So I didn't pick it for any other reason than that. I just, sometimes when I'm, getting stuff now, it's not just me personally. That was for me personally, but it's like, I know I'm going to use it on the channel. So I want to get one that will work on the channel as well. But those are the two things. I have not double check. I did not do anything else. Oh, I'll tell you one thing. Obviously I'm a big Snark guy. I know Steve, the owner of Snark, and I like them. In fact, he sent me the new one that just came out. It's rechargeable, and I'm going to be talking about that soon and doing some giveaways with those. But I will tell you, if you go on Sweetwater, I don't have a link, but if you go to Sweetwater and you go on Sweetwater and type on TC Electronics clip-on tuners, just click on the, it's the one that's not the polyphonic. It's the single one. That's normally $29. If you look for the Sweetwater one, it's $10. I thought that was a good deal. So if you need a good clip-on tuner, look, I like that tuner. It's a good tuner for $10. I mean, you can't beat it. Free shipping and all that stuff. But other than that, I'm looking around the room. I'm like, I don't have anything like, you know, like in my craw, you know what I mean? Anything planned to get. So, trying to think if there's anything, not even anything I was thinking of. Like I said, I got the things I wanted. I've been thinking about a small box and it was on sale, so I got it. And I was thinking about getting the Iron Man, attenuator, and it was on sale. Both those were 15% off. So I was like, all right, good to go. Eli says, hey, Phil, I like ratio tuners, but it's hard to justify the $120. Oh, I know, man. I know. For the set of ratios, when I just got a new set of hip shots open back for $60. I know. That's why I've done videos on both those tuners. I like them both. I like, here's the deal. There's things I like. I like hip shots quality. So that's an easy given. I like that I think they make them in the U.S. They're a U.S. company, and I'm pretty sure they're making them in the U.S. I don't want to say that for sure because they could be importing them and then, doing other stuff. But I'm pretty sure they're made in the USA. I like their price point. Done deal. Ratio was a thing where I didn't discover them through Graphtech sending them to me. I discovered them through Framus, put them on their guitars, and I was like, this is badass. And then Graphtech, which is Ratio, when I did the first Sharpen My Axe, they were like, we'd like to send you stuff, and they sent stuff. Since then, it kind of like faded away. I've asked them a couple times if they wanted to send anything else out for Sharpen My Axes. You guys don't think, God, you don't talk to me anymore about Sharpen My Axes, but that's kind of where that all ended up with the Sharpen My Axe. What ended up happening with Sharpen My Axe was, and now it's been a long enough time, I'll tell you. Because not like I wasn't telling you, but I'll tell you where it all ended. It ended with the fact that a lot of YouTube channels saw what I was doing. And not modding wasn't new, but they saw the Sharpen My Axe. Let's be honest, a couple of those Sharpen My Axe videos went viral, like million views. And so that brought a lot of attention. And what was happening on those videos was I was getting companies to send me parts. I was paying out of pocket from some parts. I was taking your guitars, fixing up your guitars and sending them back to you, which I think was the whole appeal of the damn show, was that it was like, what is he going to do to this person's guitar? You guys don't have any say on what I do to it. I thought that would be the entertaining thing. Like, kind of like that, what would I do to it? And here's what ended up happening to me. All the YouTube channels, I don't say all because I don't, I'm not trying to pigeonhole anybody, but a bunch, way too many, reached out to those companies immediately, but they came up with an idea where they're like, they're going to fix up their guitars on their videos. So they start fixing up their guitars on their videos. Well, here's the problem. There's no out of pocket. That's a win. Like if I took my guitars and each week said, now I'm going to have, FU Tone fix up my Ibanez, and now I'm going to have PRS fix up my PRS. You know what I mean? I'll do the work, but I'm modding up my own guitars. That's pretty cool for me. So the problem was a lot of these companies, they don't care. They just wanted the views. So me fixing up your guitars versus fixing up my guitars, to them there was no discernible line there to be drawn. And so all of a sudden it was like, well, do we want to send Phil McKnight, more stuff than we did last? Because because a company that sent me stuff didn't want to. They're like, do you want to send him more so we can do another guitar for another viewer? Like we already sent him stuff for his guitar, but it wasn't my guitar. It was your guitar. That's why I need to do multiples. So that was one thing. The second thing was a lot of companies really did not like the videos, as you can imagine. And I'll tell you, you can imagine all the guitar companies, the brands, I've not found one yet. Actually, that's not true. Paul Reed Smith, give them credit, man. They deserve it. Paul Reed Smith is the only company I've ever dealt with that they were like, the idea of taking a PRS and fixing it up, they're like, that's pretty cool. Everyone else was offended by it. And that's an understatement. They're like offended by it. The idea that I would take their guitar and mod it up, they're like, why would we want you to tell everybody why our guitar sucks? And I'm like, no, that sucks. It's just we're going to change things on it. And that's what people do to guitars. They change them out. So no guitar companies were interested in sponsoring. Parts companies were interested in sponsoring sometimes, and then sometimes not. So it became very difficult as a project to do. And then I kind of kept, that's why if you notice, I kind of, when some YouTubers reached out, I kind of thought, oh, this will great. I'll get some cross traffic with YouTubers and then I'll get companies back interested, and really it didn't. So back to Ratio. So Ratio, Graphtech, they kind of, you know, I sent them a couple emails for some Sharp Maxes and they weren't interested anymore. They had other projects. I'm sure they wanted to go to other channels. And then some channels were getting a lot more views than me too. That helps, right? So there you go. So yeah, I'm sorry. I just got a second to process this in, cause it's, like I said, it's one of those things where it's just a lot of work, and that's how that goes. But I have some Sharp Max videos coming. I always have more coming. As you know, I still parse them out, and they're viewers' guitars and cool stuff like that. So, yeah. All right. So back to ratios. Ratio tuners are fantastic, but yes, that's my only thing. They're expensive. Like I said, I would have more of them on my guitars. I have like 4 guitars with ratios on there. I'd have like 10 of my guitars right now with ratios if it wasn't for that price point. That's just a lot of money. 10 guitars, that's $1,200 in tuners. You know, and I don't have crappy tuners. I could justify upgrading their tuners if I had crappy tuners, but I'd be taking off good tuners to put on the ratios, and that's a luxury. It's a nice luxury, but it's a luxury. But yeah, either way, you can't go wrong, Eli. Let's see. Oh, Grumpy Mike said, I hope you have an awesome Thanksgiving weekend. I plan to. I do, believe it or not. Sorry the girl's not feeling well or poorly. Yeah, I know. I feel bad for her too. Yeah. I mean, she had plans this weekend too. It just sucks. Like I said, we were having a run of bad luck. It's like broken feet, broken toes, you know what I mean? ER rooms, sickness. It just seems like, everybody knows how this goes, man. You just get a run of this stuff, and it's just, when it rains, it pours. And to be honest with you, nothing has happened severely enough to where, you know what I mean? It's bad. Everything's just been an inconvenience of some degree. You know what I mean? So thank God for that. James says, oh, hold on. He says, ahoy? Ahoy. I'm like, okay. Ahoy, Phil. Ahoy, matey. Ahoy, Phil. Says, hope your lady is doing well. I have a Bajera 1990 120 watt to 60 watt tube amp, and I just got their 100 watt attenuator you reviewed. I assume I can't use this in full 120 watt mode, correct? Yeah, that attenuator I reviewed, like I said, that's the only critique I have for it, is that obviously you don't want to run it too hard. I will tell you, because I think it's on sale this weekend too, so it's one of those things that are on blowout. Somebody told me they bought one for like $69. The one I had, I put through hell and back, and I had no issues. But I asked people in that video to put comments. If you read the comments, it's definitely, I couldn't say 50-50, but like half of them are like, it's good, and half are like, it got hot and it started burning up on me. And so what I learned is exactly that. If you're going to run your 100 watt head, 120 watt head on it, I would definitely not. Not at full blast and not for long periods of time. Let's be honest. They're going to make a product that it's good but not great. So if you want to abuse something, I would upgrade that attenuator to be safe. But if you're going to run it in the lower wattage mode or run the volume lower, then I wouldn't worry so much. John 08, I have no idea, man. John says, I'm trying to overflow the tone jar. Thank you. Oh, he's trying to put some money in the tip jar. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And that means giveaway, because I don't know why. Okay, so here's the cool part. I want to share this with you. Hold on. Okay, go back to the main thing. Why? Oh, so like I said, I told you guys that PRS, Gene at PRS is like, hey, will you show off some cool accessories and stuff? They want to kind of, I think they just want to kind of obviously get people to buy more accessories for the holidays, right? That makes sense. And I told you guys, she's like, I'll send you a bunch of accessories and you can just keep them. And I said, oh, let's do giveaways. But I asked her for something in particular. I asked for a favor, right? It's like, that's usually how this works, right? It's a business of, hey, Phil, would you do this? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Hey, could you do something for me? So here's what I asked her to do for me. I'm going to show you guys. So I have my new PRS Vela semi-hollow right here that I absolutely love. By the way, love this guitar. And I want to show you what I did. I asked her if she'd send me a pick guard. And actually I asked her to send me 2 because I wanted to see which one I like better. So I'm going to show you guys, you tell me, you guys put in the votes which one you like better. I think I like the tortoise. Like that. What do you think of that? I love that. Some of you guys are going to hate this stuff. That's why I love it. I love it. It's not red. It's actually like the brownish tortoise. So I think upgrading from the black to the tortoise. Or, I didn't think I'd like this, but I actually liked it way more than I thought. The white pearl. Because I was like, the ivory's kind of dark, but I think it sets it off. But now, the pickups, they look black, but they're chrome. Oh, well, the top one's kind of black, but they're chrome. So, the Panda says tortoise. Tortoise. Everybody's saying tortoise. Ah, Fast Freddy's saying white. Okay, the Panda. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Okay, the Panda was first. The Panda said tortoise. So you win. What do you win? You win something cool. You win the 2022 Paul Reed Smith calendar. Look, I feel like there. But this is like with their private. Oh, it's too much reflection. There it is. Tilt that angle. With the PRS private stock, there's an acoustic on there. There's some crazy guitars. This one over here, it's got one single coil pickup in it. It's like relic finish. So you're going to get this and what? And an ornament. And the ornament, I'm going to open your ornament, man. Because I know what it is. I just didn't see it yet. They sent me a couple years ago. They sent me, and like everybody on YouTube, well, not everybody, but a lot of YouTubers, they sent Silver Sky, John Mayer. Oh, okay, I already know what this is. This is not the John Mayer. This is the Red Fiore. You're getting this ornament. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, well, then you just got the weirdest necklace ever. It doesn't have to be an ornament, but you're getting, it's pretty cool. They actually put the back plates on there. That's pretty bad, right? Pretty badass. There you go. So the Panda, just send me a message. You're going to get this opened Fiore ornament, some Know Your Gear stickers, and a Paul Reed Smith calendar. That's cool. Thank you. Because you know what? I was going to go with this anyways. I really like the white. If you guys like the white, I did too. I was really contemplating what I was like, really, really cool. Tortoise one. I'm going to go tortoise. I'm going to go, even though I think the white was way better looking than I thought. So, there you go. Yeah. Michael says, biggest earring ever. Of course, right? You guys remember trains? Remember trains, planes, and automobiles when he had to sell the shower curtains and he was selling them to the girls as hoop earrings? And he was like selling all the shower curtain rings to different people as different things. So, oh, the Panda says, no, the Panda, send me an email at pmcknight7@gmail.com or askknowyourgear@gmail.com and we'll get it out to you. And like I said, if you guys aren't in the United States, that's fine. She'll ship international. If you're international though, add a week because she's going to take, I know it because she tries to take all those packages on one day to the post office. So there you go. A lot of people picked the tortoise too. That was great. The Panda picked it first. Very nice. A lot of you guys, Johnny says him and the wife like the white pearl. I like the white pearl too. I think the tortoise, I think that's what I'm going to go for. But yeah, it's tough. So. Cars and Guitars says, Phil, I will buy the white pickguard off you if you're not using it. Cars and Guitars, if you email me at pmcknight7, I will send this to you. Especially if you're in the U.S. If you're not in the U.S., I will ask my wife. She'll see what she says. But if you're in the U.S., hopefully you're in the U.S., I'll send this to you. You can have this one. Because they're not cheap, right? They're about $30. So obviously you can have it for sure. So yeah, why not? I really would like to not have it as temptation. Because like I said, oops. I dropped the tortoise one. I know me, if I have them both, I'll just like swap them over a couple months and that's just a waste of time. there you go. Cars and guitars. Let me know. Okay, so back to questions. This is fun. I hope you guys are having fun. I know the giveaways aren't totally exciting, but I just thought, I don't know. Just thought something to do. We have Andy says, Happy Thanksgiving. No question. Okay. Have a drink on me for all the entertainment you give us. I will have a drink on you for sure. I have drinking in my plans for this weekend. In fact, I'll tell you a story, cause it's just, I'm making fun of myself, but it happened. So my poor wife, so if you live in Arizona, this is going to make a lot of sense. If you don't live in Arizona, I'll fill you in a little bit. So there's a brewery, microbrewery. I don't know if you call it microbrewery. It's a small brewery in Scottsdale, Arizona, and it's called Four Peaks. This is important to understand that it's called Four Peaks. And they sell this beer called Kilt Lifter, and it's one of the beers I like. And Kilt Lifter is like a darker type beer. It's not like dark like Guinness, but it's, it's a darker beer. And I like it. And, obviously my daughter's sick and we've had, just a couple crazy weeks. I've been working a lot of hours. As you guys saw, video content's up. I'm getting all the back order stuff done. I've just been getting stuff done. And I decided, my wife and I had to go, because of course, what we talked about when she went to the ER, she had an appointment with the neurologist. This is important because I told half my friends that she was going to the urologist, and apparently those are different, which I fully know now. At the time when I was saying it, I think I was aware they were different, but I wasn't 100% sure. But apparently, if urology and neurology, very different for those of you. Like I said, I'm not medically inclined. So I took my wife to the neurologist. The good news is they think the problem is all from actually, it's not great news, but it's good news. There's something wrong with her neck. Okay. And they think that this nerve in her neck is what caused the headaches, and then she had some numbness, and there was all these other problems. And so that's the good news. Now, after we went to the neurologist and we heard the good news, I thought it'd be nice, since my daughter was homesick and, obviously I was like, there's nothing we can do. I said, well, I was thinking I would take my wife to Four Peaks, because it's a brewery, but it's also a place where you can eat dinner, and get a growler so you can take that to go, right? So we go there, we'll share a burger or something, or some kind of pub food. And then I'll get a growler. We'll take it home and I'll have a growler for Thanksgiving. Well, when I put in my phone Four Peaks, apparently 4 locations came up. I didn't know they had 4 locations. I thought they had 1. By the way, the importance of the story is they do have only 1. And this other location that was closer came up, and I said, oh, let's go there. So we walk in. Now, this place, when we pull up, I don't know why I'm not paying attention, but it's not Four Peaks. It's called Twin Peaks. Right now, people in Arizona are laughing. Twin Peaks is, I got to tell you, unfortunately, ruin what happened, because I got to tell you what it is. Twin Peaks is a bar, and apparently it's like Hooters or the Tilted Kilt, if you're familiar with those. I guess, let me put it first of all, the women are in lingerie. Now, I don't know what it is about me and my age right now. So we go in. Now, remember, I think I'm walking into Four Peaks and I'm going to get a growler of beer, and life is going to be good because we'll share like a burger, right? Some kind of guacamole burger or something. Some kind of, like I said, what I call pub food, whatever, bar food. Some bar food, go home, have this amazing growler. Life is great. I walk in with my wife, and these girls that are in lingerie, like naked, half naked, everywhere. Now, before my wife can really understand or see what's going on, I don't know why I did this. I involuntarily went, oh my God. Really loud. So loud that 2 people waiting for their table next to us looked at us like, what the hell's wrong? Because I said it apparently very loud. Because, I was a little obviously I'm not offended, nothing wrong with Hooters or whatever those places. Like, everybody's got different opinions about this stuff. I don't really frequent those kind of places. But there's no particular reason. Like, I have no reason for it. I just was a little shocked because I thought I was going to, I thought I was going to Four Peaks. Now, here's the sad part. I go, oh, this is different than the other place. This is what I said to my wife. And she says, yeah. Now, my wife's very cool. She don't give a crap. So, right? None of this, nothing phases her. She's just like, whatever. In fact, she might think to this moment, well, probably still now, she might think I just planned to go there. But anyways, I said, oh man, this is different than the other place. And I go, oh, okay. Yeah, right. I go, I wonder why they dress like that here. Not realizing still I'm not at Four Peaks, I'm at Twin Peaks. We sit down and then I go, okay, we want to get a growler. Like I want one kill lifter now and I want a growler. And they're like, we don't sell growlers. I'm like, we're at the wrong place. So then I tell my wife, I go, yeah, this. So I get on my phone, I go, okay, so this is Twin Peaks. And I was thinking we were going to Four Peaks. And she goes, okay, you want to go? Well, then I felt like I don't want to be like an old fogey, grumpy, like, naked women, I'm out of here. So I was like, no, I feel too dumb to leave. So I go, we got to have an appetizer. So, you know what though? It's not a funny story. It's not like that great of a story. It's just, it just made me laugh. So, because of the fact that, yeah, apparently I'm not paying attention. Yeah. So there you go. For those of you who ever come into town, you'll know the difference. Four Peaks is great if you want really good beers. Twin Peaks is really great and by the way, the food was good. Everything was good at Twin Peaks. So there you go. But definitely keep in mind the women are going to be in lingerie. Yeah, Jimmy, I saw you guys are talking about Hooters and stuff. I know Hooters, I saw there was controversy. I know this is like off topic about their new uniforms and stuff. Whatever this place was, whatever Hooters, this is my opinion, just my opinion. Whatever Hooters is trying to do their outfits, this place was already there. These are pretty risque outfits. Now, some people are going to say, remember, I'm kind of tame for this stuff. It's been a long time since I've, been out maniacing. For those Army ones out there knows what that means when somebody says that. But yeah, there you go. There's my story. So, and I never got my growler. All right. So there you go. It was kind of fun. All right. Okay. Let's get back to guitar stuff. Guitar stuff is Rock Daddy says, Golden Lion 12AX7 or Tongue Soul worth the price difference? Your thoughts? Again, I kind of hate to say this. I'm not a tube connoisseur. In other words, I don't really get into them that much. With 12AX7s and stuff, I just use JJs. I like Tongue Soul. I've had those a lot. I've never tried a Golden Lion. If it's one in my amps, I wouldn't even know it. I like whatever comes in the amps. I've gone through phases. Look, I've gone through phases where I've swapped only preamp tubes, you know what I mean? On amps, like, okay, this one's this and this one's that. And then other than like switching from 12X7 to 12AU7 or something like that, you know what I mean? To try to get a different, thing going on, drop the gain, drop the amp volume or something like that. Really not a whole lot of difference to me. I just like, I really have been around too many bad tubes in my life. So like I said, a lot of times when I have tubes in the amp and everything's working, I just don't want to mess with it. I don't think you should have to be concerned about that. I don't want you to have like a phobia of it. But I just tend to stay away from it. So I don't know. Like I said, I never tried, but hopefully, like I said, when we have subjects like this, people in the comments will put their preference. Dave the Pious says, got a Black Friday deal on a Boss GT100 core. Thoughts on that unit? I've never tried that unit. In fact, I used to be more versed in Boss stuff when I had the shop because we were a Boss dealer. Since I've been on YouTube, I have not really been exposed to any new Boss products. I don't think I've actually reviewed a single new Boss product. I probably have, well, other than the katanas, I've reviewed maybe about 6 or 7 Boss products since I've been on YouTube, and all of them are just stuff I purchased, and most of it has been used stuff. So I just don't get access to new Boss products. I don't see it out in the wild so much, and I don't have any kind of working relationship with Boss. They don't send out any product or anything. So I'm just not familiar with their stuff, and I don't know. Maybe I'll get more my hands on more of that stuff. I don't know. So I've no feedback, unfortunately. Jim says, locksmith by trade. So he's a locksmith by trade. Got into doing setups, fixes, and cheaper guitars, used guitars. I would love to try guitar tech stuff as a side job. Any tips for going forward? Sure, of course. Well, what's great is you're a locksmith by trade. So you already understand the hardest part, which is dealing with customers and what you need to do, which is you need to have results, right? Just like people need to get in their house. You know what I mean? Same thing that people are going to want their guitars. The only difference is when you're working on guitars, musicians are specific. So actually, I bet you it's not different than your business. I'm sure people are like, hey, my door unlocks now, but it feels weird when I open it. Beware, it's no different than guitars. They're going to be like, oh, it feels a little different now that I play it. So no, if you're going to work on guitars from people, obviously you want to do a good job. So obviously working on your craft, perfecting your craft is important. But what I've focused on for my success of guitar tech work is the attitude point. Because like I said, most guitar techs are not, they're dicks. I know this because I have very few guitar tech friends, because most of them are just not nice. And the ones I do have are fantastic. Like I said, I have a lot of guitar tech friends, but some of them are just so, it's an industry that pulls in grumpy people. They're very grumpy. I used to think, believe it or not, going into this, I thought, I used to think that they do this for a long time and then they become grumpy. I don't think so. They're just grumpy people to begin with. So I find that you need to have a good attitude. It's really important because when you're working on people's stuff, it's, you're not a miracle worker. You're not the star of the show. It's not about you. It's about the customer and them getting what they want and understanding what you did. So that's about it. The other thing I can tell you is if you go to the Blackstock Pickups website, there's a free PDF page tab, and they have my repair sheets and stuff. And like I said, you could download those and manipulate those. I definitely suggest, if you're going to start doing repairs for a living, definitely do that. In other words, have some kind of sheet that like a go-to sheet, like a kind of 55-point inspection kind of Sweetwater thing, like ticking off boxes of what you did. It just makes you consistent. It lets the customer know what you did. Again, this is an industry where they love to just hand you those carbon sheets and they're like, set up $45. Not even 40. I love the guitar techs, and this is where I always, I just gotta say it. I love the guitar techs that can't even they put set up, and then it'll be like 45 slash. They don't even, not even 45, no dollar sign, just 45 slash. Like, and that's the information you get. And I find that you definitely want to give the customer information. It's because Ellen says, so now Phil's tech friends are analyzing whether they're not grumpy. What's funny is I should really be clear about this. I do have friends that are techs that are grumpy, that we are friends. They're just grumpy and they know it. Not one of my friends right now that ever would hear this is going to think like, is he talking about me? They know, like, oh yeah. I can tell you, my grumpy friends that are techs are going to say, who gives a shit? That's what they say. Excuse my language, but that's what they say to me. Who cares? Trust me, I tell them, I go, you should have a better attitude. And they go, who cares? And here's what I will tell you. If you want to be grumpy, I think that's fine, I guess. But you better do the best work ever. So there you go. But back to things. I think having some kind of consistency in your work so that people know what to expect is a good idea. That's definitely something I would suggest. So those are my suggestions to you. And then there you go. This is GPost001. Says, hey Phil, loving the show as always. With Blue Sky reverb pedals for $250 to $500, are pedals in the price ranges like this justified their cost? Well, they don't have to justify their cost that way. Obviously, if you're willing to pay it, you're willing to pay it. I have personally found that prices have to do with us more than product. That's just my way of thinking, and it works for me. And I've said it, you can watch 50 YouTube channels. Perfect example. Watch 50 YouTube channels and ask the same question, like, at what price point do guitars start getting good? And all the answers are all going to ironically be whatever price point I like to spend at is what I'm going to tell you I think guitars get good at. And it's because I spend as much as I think I can. Well, I spend as least as amount as I can to get the best thing I can. And then at some point I go, okay, I've experienced too many times when I spent this much, I got nothing good out of it. When I spent this much, I got something good. And I spent this much, I didn't get any more of it. So everybody has a sweet spot for that. For effects pedals and stuff like that, it's weird. It's weird what prices go for. What I find I try not to focus on when I think of pedals, like this pedal's too expensive. I like to champion, because I've learned this. This is what I've learned doing the reviews on YouTube. It's the feedback. A perfect example of this is when I did the JHS pedal, the Andy Timmons. I was talking about the fact that I was like, for 200, I think it was 250 bucks. For 250 bucks, I was like, it's a very good pedal. I love it, but it's kind of expensive, right? And that was my reference point. I think I used the analogy of like, it's like when you go to breakfast and you spend $20 on breakfast and you know eggs and bacon's not that expensive. At least then it wasn't. The point of that was what I didn't, now I know better now. In other words, when I say better, I know what to say. The JHS Andy Timmons pedal, it's not that I think it's expensive. It's that Andy Timmons also has another signature pedal with exotic effects, I think, right? And that pedal is made in California and it's built really well as well, if not a little better even, quality-wise, the way it kind of perceives, like the way the pedals put together, and it was a little less money. So to me, I was looking at this pedal as it's being expensive, but really, I should have said, this other pedal seems like a better value. And it's not to make friends with people. It's not to not hurt people's feelings. It's that it makes more sense to guide somebody towards the better product than talk about, say, oh, this other product's not worth the money. It's better to say, that's a great product. Here is a better deal. So for example, in your case, the Blue Sky Reverb, the pedals that are going for $250 to $500. It's a perfect example for me is the 63 Reverb by Boss Pedals. I love that pedal. They don't make it anymore. And now they're $150, $200 used. And I will constantly tell you guys that I think there's better product for the price. In other words, it's not better quality. It's just for the price, you can get more for less. And if you want that 63 Reverb, because I have one and I love it, and you want to pay that, then you pay it. So in your case, the same thing. If you want, this is the good news. If you want that Blue Sky Reverb, you have to decide if you like to part with $250 to $500. And, but what I can tell you is if you don't want to part with that money, there is good products in the price point you want to pay. We are living in a time where there is almost no price point that you can't find what you want. Pretty much. I mean, if you know what I mean? If you want a good quality anything, pedal, amp, pickup, you know what I mean? Think about this. I make pickups and my pickups are very expensive. And I love it when people are like, well, are they worth it? I don't know. This is how long it takes me to wind it, put it together and put it in a box. That's what I'm going to charge. Can you buy a Guitar Fetish pickup for $30? It's great. Absolutely. Am I going to make one for $30? No, I'm not. So that's the same thing. It's not about whether or not something's, in my opinion, it's not about whether it's worth, it's whether what you will spend. That's just my opinion on that from 800 reviews now. Cause again, you can't do anything in life and not learn from it and experience it. And that's when my experience of not only playing all this product now, but reviewing it, you start learning things like that. Like, okay. And that's why I like to mention stuff to you guys all the time. I did a video this week when I talk about Vintage Tone, that clone. That's why in that video, I mentioned the Tumnus, the Soul Food. I mentioned all the products out there on the market. Why? Because they're all good, right? There's reality. There's certain things that are cooler about certain things that you might like more, but ultimately it's, what do you call it? It's your comfort zone, your personal comfort zone. I spend in my comfort zone. And there's nothing I can do about that. That's what I've learned. Whenever I spend out of my comfort zone, no matter how good it is, I find it eats at me a little bit. I know what I want. I know what I'm willing to part with cash wise. Johnny says, just supporting the McKnight team. Thanks. That's like me. I'm the team. That's my wife too. And my son. My son helps a lot too. And in fact, actually, to help with the patrons, my daughter and my wife, when my wife was not feeling well, my daughter packed. A lot of you guys got packed up packages from my daughter. Believe it or not, my daughter did it. My son took them to the post office. So it is a team. It's the McKnight team. TG says, there's a guitar shop online that has a guitar I wanted to buy. It's not a popular guitar, but their price is almost half. How can I be safe? Well, you can use PayPal. I've had great experiences with PayPal. I've heard people tell me they've had, I mean, again, I can only go off comments I see in the videos and stuff. Some people will say, oh, I didn't have a great experience with PayPal. I've had a great experience with PayPal. I can tell you right now, I've had it this year twice with stores. Now it was Reverb connected, but Reverb wasn't the important part. I was stores. And the stores were funny because they were like, if you do this, we'll do this. In other words, like, if you do this, we'll give you a refund. And if you do that, and both times I was like, boop, I pushed the little PayPal button, and then PayPal's like, give him back his money. And he sent, and then one store made me laugh because they were like, no, we don't, because the product was defective and not as described. And they were trying to say like, yeah, that's fine. We understand that. But even being defective and not as described, the store was telling me I'm responsible for the return shipping. So it's funny. So I said, so what they wanted me to do is they sent me a label. This is kind of funny. Sent me a label, and then they were going to deduct out of my refund the shipping. So I sent it back, and then I told PayPal that I was unhappy with the purchase and explained why. And then PayPal said, well, you got to return it. And then I gave them a tracking number, and then PayPal took the money back from them and gave it right back to me. And then PayPal handled everything. And the store went, well, he's got to pay return shipping. And then PayPal said, unless you prove to us that it wasn't defective and it was as described, no. And so PayPal did all the work. So I would purchase with PayPal. Sometimes you can use your bank and stuff, but I don't know. PayPal's been good to me. So David says, need a jack plate for a Squier Telly with outside circumference for a Squier 25 millimeter, but inside circumference of a USA made jack. Does this exist? I don't know. This is the first. I have no idea. I think you'll probably, other than I have no idea where you would specifically look for that. I mean, it might be an easy thing to get. I don't know. What I will tell you is, it's a Squier jack. Here's what I would do. I just buy a nice new jack plate and line everything up. I mean, obviously I replaced so many Squier jack plates, just like Epiphones. You replace a lot of Squier and Epiphone. Any of the ones that use the plastic jack plates, you replace those all the time with metal ones. And a lot of times they don't line up. And all I usually care about is whether or not, I can see any of the old screws and stuff, holes where I fill them in. But most of the new plates are going to be bigger and they're going to cover up everything you need. So I wouldn't even overthink that so much. But if it's, here's the other thing too. I found myself over the years, whenever you're trying to find these weird little parts that these import guitar companies have used, you just make yourself crazy. So I get the better quality parts and then I just clean up the mess. And that's been my experience with it. So that's my suggestion to you. But somebody might out there have recently fixed up one of those guitars and have like, oh yeah, you go to this.com and this is the part. So hopefully they'll have that answer for you too. Adrian says, hey, Phil, happy holidays to you and yours. Looking at a PRS Custom 22 USA. Is $18.50 a good price from Guitar Center? Excuse me. Never played a USA PRS before. Thanks. Well, they were inflated for a little while. So $18.50 seems a little low in the inflated price. But what I've seen is a wave of used gear coming on Reverb recently. And I don't think that's a sign of anything. Everybody's going to have some opinions right now about that. Oh, it's the market's collapsing. But what I just see is a lot of people it's this time of season. People just like to put up their stuff that they're not using, get more cash flow in their lives. $18.50 seems Before COVID, that seemed a little high. Post COVID seems a little low. So I would say you're almost safe. Guitar Center has been a little tricky lately. Guitar Centers they used to be notorious for always having their stuff underpriced. But if you guys noticed lately in the last month or two, Guitar Center's been inching those used prices up to the COVID crazy Reverb pricing. I've seen many times where Guitar Center's listing stuff for like, they sell it for like $280 and they're like used $250, and that's usually not the old MO for Guitar Center. So I don't know, but I will tell you is you can always ask Guitar Center for a deal too. See if they'll take a deal. See if that helps. But $1850 for a custom 22 USA, I'm assuming it's non-10 top in good condition. I think $1850 seems fair. Tim says, do you think if Squier and Epiphone said Fender and Gibson on the headstock, would they sell more? Same with Sterling example. Every Ibanez says it. Yeah, this is a great question and an impossible question to answer. Obviously, all we can do is just, theorize it. Which is, if Squier said Fender, right? Would it make a difference? And the answer is absolutely will make a difference, because with Squier specifically, we know it does, because Fender has put Fender on Squiers before. For instance, Fender, when they made some guitars, some Strats and some Tellies that were made in Indonesia that say Fender. They currently probably still do, right? Well, I'm trying to think. I should remember the model numbers, but they've done a few. Well, first of all, not only that, they've done the Showmaster series and stuff, which is different than what they did with Fender, and that's also import. So that's Korean made Indonesian with a Fender logo. So Fender has throughout the years put Fender logos in the most recent, like last 10 years, on imported product from Indonesia, China, and Korea. And think about this acoustic wise, almost all the Squier acoustics were dissolved a few years back, let's say about 8 years ago, and then they all rebranded as only as Fender. So even Fender, all the acoustics that are made in China say Fender on it. And what I can tell you was, oh, thank you, Grumpy Mike, the Modern Player Telly, thank you. They had a modern, but think of this, Grumpy Mike, they had a Modern Player Strat as well. I don't know if you know that. And it had really cool features. It had like this boost control and stuff, but it was a Modern Player Strat, and that phased out pretty fast, and then they just kept it to the Tellys. So the Modern Player series is Fender branded, in my opinion, it's Fender branded Squier. It's great stuff. I'm not dogging Squier, by the way. I'm a huge Squier fan, but what I'm saying is it's obviously because it's made in Indonesia, we're not associating that to the made in Mexico, made in America, or made in USA Fender stuff. And what I can tell you was when that stuff popped, it sold super fast. You know what I mean? It just kind of drove that needle a little hard. And yes, I think if putting Fender on Squier product would have an initial huge selling point right away. Same with Epiphone. I think obviously if Epiphone was rebranded Gibson. However, there is a secondary concern, which is we've seen this with high-end bass companies are the perfect example when this goes wrong. So I'm going to give you both sides of this problem. Companies like Rock Bass, or Warwick, when they did Rock Bass, companies like, what was another one? Lakeland, right? They really tanked up their high-end sales by making imports that were really good, especially Lakeland. If you're a bass player, import Lakeland got so good that people stopped buying high-end Lakeland. So that's actually the thing that happened. So there's a concern there, right? Why would you buy the high end? The majority, right? Because you remember, people are still going to buy high end. It's never going to stop. But you don't want to see, too many of your high end customers going downward into your lower price points, because you want everybody to buy what they can. Remember, I was telling you earlier about your comfort zones of what you pay. That's kind of where companies want you to be. If you like spending $5,000, then they want you to spend $5,000 on the high end. If you like spending $200, they want you to spend $200 on the low end. They do not want to see the $5,000 customer dipping down. They know the low-end customer can't dip up, right? I should say low-price customer, right? You're not going to see a $200 customer all of a sudden spend $5,000 unless they inherit some money or, a drunken escapade. It's not normal, but you definitely don't want to see the high-end customers dipping down, which happens sometimes. Me personally, I think more like you in the idea that I've seen so many companies successfully pull it off, like Ibanez. To me, it's just associated. Ibanez made in Japan is high-end. Ibanez premium in Indonesia is really good. Ibanez not premium is not as good. So I think Ibanez is one of those companies that have definitely succeeded in the idea that when I look at an Ibanez for $200, I don't confuse that with the $2,000 Ibanez, and I don't confuse the $2,000 Ibanez with a $200 Ibanez. And so I don't see that happening, anytime soon. A customer is like, I'm looking for a high-end Ibanez, like a Prestige, and then they walk out with a $119 Ibanez thinking it's the same thing because it says Ibanez, right? I don't foresee a world where somebody buys a $299 Fender modern player Telly and then goes, this is the same guitar as the, custom shop. Now, there's somebody who will buy that guitar and feel it's like, it's good enough for me and it's as good as the custom shop, in my opinion. They'll say that. And they'll be right because it's their opinion, but they won't be. We're talking about confusion. We're talking about we don't want customers confused thinking they bought, like, I bought a high-end guitar and it's not. So I think personally, the sub-brand thing is a dated idea and it probably should go away. It's just my opinion. I've been saying that for years. And there's some scary things. Like if I'm wrong in my opinion, it can get really scary. Personally, like I said, one of the things that that I don't like is, like I said, LTD, E2, ESP. To me, that's again, they've this higher end midline. It gets too confusing to me at that point. And I love LTD and I love E2 and I love ESP, but at some point I'm just like, why don't they just call it all ESP and just call it, be done with it. I wish they would just do it. I obviously I know an ESP, that's $4,000 probably made in the USA now. And if I see an ESP for $3,000, I'm going to say it's probably made in Japan. And if I see an $800 ESP, I'm going to say it's made in Indonesia. It's, it makes perfect sense to me, right? That it would just be that way. So I wish companies would kind of go away. I really like that PRS, Paul Reed Smith, finally just started putting Paul Reed Smith on the SEs, Paul Reed Smith, and then put SE. I think it's perfect. Maybe Fender should do that. Fender, and then, and then have, just like they have now, player series, performer series, right? Professional, maybe make an import line and just call it something else. So I don't know. It would be interesting. The problem though, there's a secondary problem for just Squier and Epiphone. So, just those two. I don't see it happening for anybody else. Maybe it's Sterling, maybe. I don't think so. Which is the problem those two companies have is their brand power is super strong. So it's like dissolving a brand that's really strong to put the bigger brand you have on it when you have two successful brands. Like, I don't know. I'm just giving guesses here. I don't think Fender looks at Squier. Well, what I mean by FMIC, I mean the corporation. I don't think they look at Squier as like the cheaper Fender. I think they just look at it as another brand to them. This is the Squier brand, and there's a Fender brand, and then there's a Gibson brand, and there's an Epiphone brand. That's how I think they'd see it. Because again, those brands have strong power behind them. People trust them. And there's maybe some people don't like the idea of, of a Squier labeled Fender. Some people like proudly to be like, I bought the Squier because I think that's a good guitar and it's good for the price and I'm happy with it. So it's funny. Oh, Al John Goes here. See, we're talking about you. We're talking about Epiphone. He would probably be the best to answer this. I would guess, and Al John could probably answer it better than anybody. I would also guess that there's artists. Look, now I'm not talking about the high-end artists that play the custom shop Gibsons. I'm talking about working artists. There's working artists that probably play Epiphone proudly as like a, same reason a rancher drives a Chevy Silverado, right? He doesn't want, the Cadillac Escalade truck version. I'm just, just giving you an idea. You know what I mean? He wants a work truck. They want a work truck. They want to show this is who they are as a person. I bet you there's players out there like, no, I want to play the Epiphone because I don't want to play this custom shop Gibson. I want to show this, this is the guitar I like. So, but I love this I love this concept of a discussion because again, it's always interesting to me because all this brand hierarchy system was developed in a different world than we are living now. It's all pre the internet. It's all pre all this stuff. So I'm curious to see how much of it is, outdated thinking and how much of it's still relevant. Aljon saying we have a lot of proud Epiphone artists. Absolutely. Like I said, I already see that. I'm sure, like I said, I can't speak for Aljon. I'm just saying, I would imagine there's artists that if Gibson said, hey, I know you're on our Epiphone line, we want to make you a Gibson line. And they're like, no, I want to do just Epiphone. I've seen this with artists before with other brands. There's artists like Schecter's a good example of this. There's artists on Schecter that play, I think, Robert Smith in The Cure is like, I'm pretty sure he's like this. He plays the imported off the rack Schecter that we all get. And he doesn't play their custom shop stuff. You know what I mean? There's artists that want to play the stuff off the rack. You know what I mean? So great question. Like I said, I love this stuff because it gets people thinking and talking about this stuff. Like I said, and I want to be very clear, Epiphone and Squier are the two I think that would probably make the most sense as keeping them. But me, other than that, I can't come up with a good reason. Like Sterling, nah, I would phase that out and just be Music Man. I would phase out LTD, just make that ESP. I think everybody, to me, it's like I said, I wouldn't dissolve, if it was me, I wouldn't dissolve a brand that everyone knows. But a lot of these sub brands, like LTD is probably, and again, I love the LTD guys. So, I just want to be very clear. LTD has always been funny to me. 90% of the people that have LTD still say they're ASPs. When I was at the shop, one of the things that would drive you crazy on the phone, LTD was the biggest. They would call you up and they go, hey, I want to trade an ESP. I have an ESP Eclipse. What do you think it's worth? And I go, oh, okay. Is it LTD or ESP? And they go, oh, well, LTD. And I go, see, I mean, think about that. You can imagine if somebody was like to call you up and be like, I have a Gibson custom shop. What do you think it's worth? And I'm like, oh, like custom shop production. Well, it's an Epiphone. You would be like, oh, well, that's a totally different guitar. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So I think a lot of the lower tier brand by, in other words, people know notoriety of their brand, I think they should probably dissolve all the sub-brand stuff. Think about this. It failed for a lot of companies. I always like to think of Washburn as a perfect example. To me, when they did Lion by Washburn, that was a horrible failure of a brand. And I don't think Oscar Schmidt's much better. I think they should just all call it Washburn and call it a day. So. Okay. So, sorry, I was reading comments. Got to stay focused. I want to do a giveaway. I'm looking at my stuff to give away. I have more stuff, but what's great is whatever I forget, I'll just do next week too. Let me do one more question and then we'll do a giveaway too. Let's do Greg did a super chat. I appreciate that. Let's do music therapy last. Says, I got my package. Love the fret rocker tool. I saw your video. I saw the video too. Thank you for doing the video. Been wanting one to get one. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, I bought all the, here's the funny part. I didn't realize what I did. It was kind of messed up. In my patron packs, the premium patrons, they get this like welcome pack, and there's some, and like I've told you guys this before, my wife puts in all the stuff I like. What I didn't think about what I did, which was kind of messed up, is we had a patron surge. In other words, we just got a lot of patrons out of nowhere. It was this, and so that happened. That was very exciting. And then I look at like what I normally get in patrons, over a period of 6 months or a year. And then I go, okay, we make sure we get stuff. Cause if I buy in bulk, I'll get cheaper prices on the stuff that I'm putting in your packs. So what happened was I bought out all of Sweetwater's Music Nomad fret rockers. I'm laughing because I feel horrible. Like I didn't think about it until after I did it. What happened was I got the email from my Sweetwater rep, and it was like, "Hey Phil, we can only ship so many of the ones you ordered because that's all we had." And I was like, "Oh, no problem." And then I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then I went on, and then like a day later, all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, "Ah, crap! That means nobody can buy them on." Well, I guess it's just Sweetwater. I guess you can get them other places. But yeah, I bought them all up. So Music Therapy Laz did a cool video where he unboxed the pack. Thank you. That was a great video. I put a comment on it, I thought, but my days get a little wacky, and I'm glad you dug the pack. It's kind of fun to me to watch that stuff. Yeah, let's do. So I have a really cool thing to give away, like a really, really cool thing to give away. Check this out. Some of you guys might know this logo. What? This guy, it's this, how does this logo go? Well, that wouldn't make sense. That's the number 2. And then this is a C2 7. It's a C27. No, wait. It's an LPD. Whoa, do that backwards. LPD. I have to do it backwards. I did pretty good, right? On the screen. LPD. What is it? It's an LPD Dutch pedal. What? That Lawrence sent me. And I thought this would be, I wanted something cool to give away today. And I thought, well, nothing's going to be cooler than this, because this is one of his overdrives, dual buttons, right? Look at that. It says Dutch on it, like the movie Dutch. If you guys remember that movie, overdrive. It's got some cool knobs. Ta-da! LPD pedal, Dutch. Let's do the giveaway. And here's what happened. I don't know why. You're going to hate me for this. The winner is Johnny Love, because he put cool as a cucumber in caps. See, I know you're going to hate these giveaways because they don't make any sense. I just picked Johnny Love because it's cool as a cucumber. Johnny Love, send me a message at PMcKnight7 or Ask Know Your Gear, and you'll get this amazing $200 Dutch LPD pedal. I'll throw in some Know Your Gear stickers. I'm sure they'll be the highlight. Oh, and a cough drop. Look, you'll get a cough drop too. Well, it's a throat lozenge. Look at that. When you open it up, you'll be like, there you go. I need to find a better way to do giveaways. If you guys have suggestions, then I just pick random things. I just like things I see, just makes it exciting. Johnny Love, hopefully you live in the U.S. If not, like I said, we'll ship it to you anyways. We're shipping out outside the U.S. Just, you might have to pay duties and duty. You might have to pay duty and taxes and fees or whatever you have to do. So there you go. Jazz Flounder says, hey, Phil, I'm thinking about a humbucker style, Strat style shaped guitar, low wind pickups. Interesting. So lower output pickups, whammy bar, but preferably not a Floyd Rose, C-shaped. Think Pete Thorne signature, but in the 2K range. Suggestions? Sure, of course. That's a Kiesel. Absolutely. Get a Kiesel with beryllium pickups. And yeah, that's right. And those would be the lower output ones. They'll give you some vintage tone. You can get, look, if you want a Kiesel, if you want a Suhr, and you don't want to pay Suhr prices, like you said, $2,000. Look, this Ibanez made in Japan is $2,000. You know what I mean? So these are $2,000. You can get the Indonesian Ibanezes for in the $1,200 to $1,300 range, and I highly recommend those, and they'll definitely put you in that range. Obviously, also another one thing is made in Mexico. Charvels will kick ass with roasted necks. They're definitely in there. When I agree with you. I want a Pete Thorne signature guitar too. That's definitely one of my guitars. If there's 5 guitars I've been wanting for the last couple of years, it's definitely in that list. This is the Pete Thorne. And the Pete Thorne is a fantastic guitar. Like I said, I've played them. I love it. And remember what we talked about? Price? Is it overpriced? I don't think it's overpriced. It's just priced out of what I'm comfortable spending for a guitar right now. And what I did was exactly what I'm recommending you. I bought a Kiesel Theos, and you can get an Aries or whatever. And it's, I think, yeah. What do I think? I think it's controversial when I say this, apparently, but I think a Suhr and a Kiesel are the same damn guitar. I watched, and you probably go on eBay, go on YouTube and watch 50 videos of guys telling you how the Suhrs blow away their Kiesels and their Charvels, and there's just no comparing them. And yep, I'm telling you that Pete Thorne guitar is freaking awesome, and it's not different in quality than this Kiesel Theos, and it's not different in quality, in my opinion, than this Ibanez. Do I want the Suhr? Yeah. I want the Pete Thorne. Why? Because I like the way it feels. I like the way it looks. I like the way it sounds. But can I get something like that for less money? I can. And like I said, in my opinion, the 3 guitars I would look at if you're looking at Pete Thorne is any of the Made in Mexico Charvel DK series. The necks will not feel like the Pete Thorn though. They'll be thinner. The Ibanez will feel more like the Pete Thorn, because I think the Ibanez AZ guys pretty much clone the Suhr necks. I mean, they feel almost identical to me in their shaping. But I actually like the Kiesel neck shape a little bit more. It's a little bit thinner. It's just a little more less U-shaped. I like this. Dan of New Jersey says, seriously, you can't compare Kiesel to Suhr. I know you can't. It'd be insane, right? I mean, even though they're both in California, they both pay about the same employee rates to employ their employees. Some of their employees both work at the same factories. They've used the same specs on their guitars, the same machinery. I mean, it's really, I mean, there's a, like I said, I always think it's funny. I think it's funny to people. It's funny to me that saying something is good somehow makes something else not as good. There's nothing in my mind takes away from Suhr by saying that Kiesel is an equalized company. In other words, they're putting out the same type of product. Now, in my opinion, for what it's worth, Kiesel has more of a mass-produced system going. In other words, they run the process a little faster. They're not putting as much hand time on guitars. I'm not trying to say they're not putting good hand time on guitars. They're doing a great job. But yeah, I think Suhr puts a little more hand time on guitars. But you understand, like that time, it's a few extra hours, and you're paying a few $1,000s more. Again, it is quality. But again, you have to decide if it's worth it. And I always like to point this out. I sold my Suhr, kept my Kiesels. Not because my Suhr was bad, but because, like I told you, I was like, $3,800 for this Suhr. It's good. But I don't know. Is it that much better than my Kiesel I had made that I picked the color? Because again, I could pick the colors, make them the same way as mine. You know, the way I wanted it, do everything I wanted to do. But again, you understand, a lot of Suhr's pricing is because they can command that pricing. There's not a whole lot to equate to, actual cost difference. Suhr is actually, so a much bigger company. I can't tell you for sure how big Suhr is, but I would say it's at least, it's double for sure. It might be up to 4 times bigger than Kiesel as a company of dollars per year. Now, of course, Suhr has amps and pickups and pedals to add to their lineup, where Kiesel really doesn't have that as a revenue stream. Sure, Kiesel makes pickups, but their pickups aren't a big revenue stream for them. They're mostly in the guitars. But yeah, if you want a Suhr type quality guitar and you don't want to pay $4,000, a Kiesel is a very good guitar for about the same price. And I love it. And again, this is just my opinion, but I love it when somebody will say to me, my own friends will say this, they'll go, yeah, but my Kiesel, I needed a really good setup on it. I'm like, well, what did that cost you? You know what I mean? Okay, so a Kiesel and a really good setup, it'll get you really close to a Suhr. But then again, here's what's funny, and again, I say this with no remorse. And I honestly think my DK24 Charvel is almost as good as my Kiesels. And I think my Ibanez is hard, because here's why I say it's hard. My Ibanez, when I say it's as good as my Kiesel, or if not, it's this is as good as the Kiesel, it's also more expensive and has less options than the Kiesel, and not made in the USA. Neither is the DK24. So, but I'm just giving you some concepts there. So, and again, it's nice. And out of all the Suhrs, the only one I want is the Pete Thorn, because I like his pickups. I like the way that guitar feels. I like the way that it looks. And I like the pricing on it better than some of the other Suhr Moderns. Because like I said, they get up to the $5,000 range really fast. So, yeah, I love the comments. See, it's funny. Like half of them are like, oh, my Kiesel's the greatest thing ever. And people are like, I'll never play a Kiesel. Whatever. Again, it's emotional. I find most of those answers, again, not wrong, just emotional. Somebody's like, oh, I don't like the way Jeff Kiesel is, so his guitars suck. You could say, I love it if you say to me, I don't like the company Kiesel, I don't like their attitude, I don't like the owner, I don't like something about that, and I don't want to buy from them. I'm like, that's fine. But I love when people are like, I don't like the owner and their guitars are crappy. Well, the guitars aren't crappy. again, that there is, I would love, I've been searching, I would love to find someone making guitars as cheap as Kiesel in the US, semi-custom. And that's their game, man. That's the thing they got down. Like I said, Suhrs are fantastic, but you have to pay for it. Yeah, I love this conversation. This is great. Spawned 72 says, I heard Kiesel used to be Carvin. Is that correct? Yeah, it's exactly that. There's two brothers. The easiest way to put the story is this. There's two brothers, and there's a longer story, but the short version of the story is one of the brothers basically decided they're gonna stop making guitars. So Carvin was gonna stop making guitars and focus on the amplifiers and PAs, because they were like, everybody's gonna buy import guitars, okay? And no one's gonna buy USA guitars, and it's too hard to compete with import guitars with USA pricing. And so the other brother, the one that was supporting the Carvin guitars, the one who was running Carvin guitars, basically said, okay, we'll branch off, and they became Kiesel. Now, Kiesel, the company, owns Carvin, the name Carvin, only for guitars. So they can make guitars. They can make Carvin guitars. They just can't make Carvin amps and PAs and stuff like that. And so that's how it's separated out. And then Kiesel, essentially what Kiesel's done, so Carvin's been around for 75 years. That's about right. Something like that. Since 1946. But Kiesel's been around for like 6-7 years. Again, my numbers are probably slightly off, but you get the idea. And so Kiesel's still trying a market share thing. And what's important about that is that's why the prices are low. They are low. Yeah, like I said, yeah, if you went, I can prove it to you. There's, like I said, a lot of stuff I like to state as opinion, but then there's stuff I can prove. Go to any U.S. manufacturer, like pick one, Music Man or Knaggs or Paul Reed Smith or Fender or Gibson, right? Or I don't know. Again, just keep going. I mean, those are the major ones. You can pick small ones too. Work up one of those Kiesels you see on their website. Work up some Dream Kiesel and crazy color and all this stuff. Take the spec sheet of that guitar to those guys. Tell them you want that guitar, and tell them to come within 10. I don't know. Tell them. I was going to say double, but I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to be wrong. Tell them you'll come in within 20% of that price. They'll laugh at you. And then tell them you want it in, like, I don't know, 3 to 5 months, and they'll laugh even harder. They'll laugh at you. So, laugh. Talk to a Fender Custom Shop and tell Fender Custom Shop that you want a Strat in a custom color with custom configuration pickups, and you want all these features, and you want it in like 5 to 6 months. And they'll go, yeah. And you want it for like $1,900, and they'll laugh and they'll go, yeah, it's $6,000 and we need 2 years. So again, it's not saying that, and it's funny is a lot of you will be focused on this like somehow I'm championing Kiesel. I'm just explaining this is how it is. If you have the money, then buy Fender Custom Shop or Suhr. If you like, if you have no problem spending that money, do it. But my problem with those companies isn't that. That's why I want the Pete Thorne. Because to me, that's buying his signature is like buying that guitar. The problem I have with Suhr is a lot of you guys, apparently when you see Suhr prices, you see a $3,800, $4,200 Suhr guitar. Well, that's the production guitar. Like me, I want, like my Kiesels, I want something different. And when I talk to Suhr about getting a custom guitar, I mean, those prices immediately get into $7,000 like in a minute. So yeah, I'm not spending $7,000 for that guitar. In fact, like I said, my Kiesel right here, that was $1,900, and spec'd out exactly like that. Suhr was going to be about $5,700. So that's why I did it. And it's the same specs. It's the same kind of roasted neck, stainless steel frets, yada, yada, yada. Doesn't have the brand value power. Kiesel's not Suhr. That's not what I'm saying. But, like I said, made essentially the same way on a CNC machine and then hand sanded. So there you go. Yeah, Jeff says, who cares what the owner is like? You don't have to have dinner with them. Well, here's the thing. Two things, funny things that I'll say. I'll say it to you as a customer and then as a YouTuber channel. As a customer, I understand the concept of, if you don't like the owner, if you don't like their, their attitude, their views, I can see why you don't want to do business with them. I think that totally makes sense. Like I said, if somebody says they don't like so-and-so, the owner at so-and-so company, and they don't buy from those company, that's fine. That doesn't really, that's not a specifically comment about their quality or lack of quality. It's about their way they run their business. As a YouTube channel, what I've argued with other YouTube channels publicly, by the way, is that a lot of times when they'll say, well, this owner's horrible. Well, in my experience so far on YouTube, I would say 60-40 seems pretty safe. 60% of the companies I've worked with have been they've been horrible as people. You know what I mean? Because not because they have to be nice, because just by nature, they're just, when you get to meet them, I get to meet these people way more. If you look at my channel, I've interviewed a lot of people. What I've interviewed publicly and what I've interviewed privately, I've interviewed a large part of this industry. I've interacted with a large part of these ownerships of these people who run these companies. And I can tell you, majority, like I said, 60 seems fair, but I'll even be nicer and say 50%. 50% of them are just, yeah, I don't like them. I wish I never would have met them. I would have liked their product a little more. I still like their product and I still buy it, but this whole idea, like you said, that you have to like the owner. In fact, I've suggested many times that a lot of these owners should never go public. They should just hide in the background and hire somebody to be the face. See. And then Front Level Midlight says he is a jerk. I assume he's talking about Jeff Kiesel. We're going down this road, so we might as well finish it up before we go to the next question. He says he is a jerk, and when subpar work is done, he is publicly shamed before making it right. Wait, he has to be publicly shamed before making it right after trashing a multi-decade customer multiple times, tone-deaf customer service. Yeah, you're talking. See, here's what's funny about this. You're talking specifically though about the time that Jeff Kiesel slammed that guy publicly on Facebook. If you guys don't know the story, obviously in the gear circles, it's real popular that he did this, and it was really it was bad. It was a horrible thing to watch. As a person, I don't think you'd want that out there. Somebody slamming somebody publicly like he did. And then, like he said, a lot of people said they were upset with him, and then he apologized. Again, I'm not here to defend him. I don't actually ever talk to Jeff Kiesel. I've only met Jeff once at the NAMM show, and he was very pleasant and very brief. In fact, it was like, hey, I like your channel, and this is Brandon. and I deal with Brandon. Brandon's awesome. And again, this is kind of a funny thing to me. I can tell you this is, I've said this before with companies. There are people at companies I really, really like, and they're not the owners or the presidents or the head people. They're just the employees I like. Brandon is an amazing guy at Kiesel, and I like him. He's super nice. There's a couple of nice people at Kiesel. But I get that you see Front Level Midnight's perfect. If that put a bad taste in your mouth and you don't want to buy from Kiesel, well, then don't. I think that totally makes sense. And that makes total sense. But again, it doesn't speak to the quality of the guitars. Like I said, they make mistakes. Well, so is Suhr. Like I said, so is PRS. So is Gibson. So is Fender. Again, this isn't defense to anybody. It's just, explaining things. So there you go. I can tell you this as a fun thing to say, but I won't tell you. This is horrible what I'm going to do to you guys, but I'm going to do it. If you saw what Jeff Kiesel did publicly, I've seen owners of other companies within the last 2-3 years do way worse, and I publicly had to watch it, and it was horrific. I watched an owner of a company just literally almost to the point where we almost got physically mad at him, me and a bunch of other people, because he was berating one of his employees so horribly. We couldn't believe they had the gall to talk like this to somebody. And you're like, okay, and you leave with that in your feeling. So yeah, I understand that. But to me, that's not the company. That's just that's the owner. And what's funny is he doesn't even operate the company anymore. Isn't that funny? It's like weird. It's weird. It's a weird business. Like I said, weird place. So Interesting. That's what's great about having so many cool guitar brands to pick from. If you don't want to buy from them, that's why I mentioned Sharpen, Ibanez, Kiesel, and Suhr. You can pick any one of them. We have T says, T scissored? I'm going to say T scissored. This is the hard one. Says, I have a 94 to 95 Jackson HX Stealth if you want another sharp in my axe. Yeah, I'll cover the parts for your recommendations, and I need to show everybody how to refinish and paint the body. I understand what you're saying. That is what I'm doing now. So I'm doing 2 Sharpen axes that I've been in the process of working on, and that's the deal we worked out. Was the person that sent it is paying the cost of it. The problem is, and there's nothing wrong with it, that's why I'm doing a couple of those, but this ties back to earlier conversation. I think this is the problem that has to be addressed every time. So I like making YouTube videos. I love it. Okay. It's a great gig. The problem I have sometimes when I'm doing the Sharpen axe videos is everybody says the same thing. And I understand that. They'll say, hey, I'll pay all the parts and stuff and I can do the video. Well, to do that sometimes, and I don't want to, because like I said, I'm doing that right now with some viewers. I don't want to make this sound bad because I don't want them to feel bad because I asked to do this with them. But what I'm saying is, when I said about it's hard because when companies aren't sponsoring it and doing anything, is I have a rate that I charge to do these repairs, and when I'm doing the video, I don't charge the rate. Well, if you look at the math never makes sense. So if I make a video, let me give you an example. It maybe makes more sense if I do it this way. So let's say a viewer says, oh, okay, I'll pay for the parts and I'll send you the guitar. Great. And then I do all the work and I make the video. Now remember, making the video takes time, editing, do all this stuff. And then the work takes time. And then I make the video and the video makes, let's say, some money, and that's great. And I get paid. But when I do the math every time, I'm like, yeah, if I would have just charged to do the work, I would have made 3 times, sometimes 4 times as much, because I don't have cheap labor rates. I haven't charged cheap labor rates since 2000. My last time I was inexpensive was probably 2008. I around 2007, 2008, I raised my prices up, and then I've been raising them ever since as repair. And so again, it's not cheap. I'm not maybe I'm overpriced. Either way, like I said, that's the tough part. So yeah, what we talked about doing was just when I'm working on guitars, just putting out those videos. But the Sharpen axe thing, like I said, I like the suggestion. Like I said, we're getting there. It's a cool idea. Ray says, I have a Boss delay. How do I set it to sound like reverb? Well, you can do kind of like a slapback, because you have it says Boss delay 3. You can set it up to be like a slapback thing. You can get a kind of reverby kind of sound. I don't really think it sounds like reverb. I think it sounds like more slapback and stuff. But you can get it, like I said, a slapback tone. You just dial everything way down. I haven't done it in forever because I have a reverb. That might be a suggestion. Litvay's question says, one more. I didn't know there was a little screaming demon. Not digging the JB Jr. in the EOB Strat, okay, with the sustainer. All right, could this be better? What do you expect? The Screaming Demon will be lower output significantly than the JB Jr. So I'm sure if you go to Seymour Duncan's website, you can see they'll kind of give you corresponding information to let you know what the output of how aggressive those pickups are. To me, the Screaming Demon would probably be just a guess, but it's more output than, let's say, the PAF. The 59, I'm sorry, than the Seymour Duncan Little 59. So like, to me, the Little 59 would be less aggressive than the Screaming Demon, a little bit more than that. And then the JBL after that. And there's probably something in between those, but it's definitely less aggressive sounding than the JB if that's what you're looking for. But I would also just say go for the 59. The Little 59 is a great little pickup. Sounds great. So Curtis says, I've heard you comment that you dislike Grover tuners. Yeah, no, I'm curious. I'm curious too. I says I'm curious why that is. Grover seems to come on a large portion of guitars and get things. I don't know if maybe I've said that. I don't know passively. I know this is where it gets a little tricky. You gotta understand, Curtis. This is where it gets a little tricky for me. That when I do the podcast, this show, I tend to talk more in myself. Like when you guys ask me questions like, what do you think of this? And I tell you. A lot of times when I'm making videos, it's very confusing for a lot of people. And I've seen this over the years where I do a, video, and the video is like it's not for me, right? Like, let me give you a perfect example. And I use this one all the time. I have a video called How to Live with the Floyd Rose When You Don't Like It. I love Floyd Roses. I like said, the top row, you're not seeing any, but of course my Sinister Gates is a Floyd Rose. I have about 6 or 7 Floyd Roses. My Nuno, which is one of my main guitars, is a Floyd Rose. My EVHs are Floyd Roses. I like Floyds a lot. And because I like them a lot and I've played them for so many years, I got really good at setting them up. And one day, because when you set them up a lot of people bring them in and they sometimes what they need done is very easy to do. And so I decided to go, I'll make a video called How to Live with Your Floyd Rose When You Hate It. I thought that would be a great way to search it, to find the video. So I made the video on a title. It wasn't so much like clickbait. It was like, okay, this will find the right customer, in other words, so to speak, right? I want someone who's frustrated with their Floyd Rose to find this video, and then I'll show them 3 little tricks on how to make it work passable, right? Like blocking it. Then for years after that, what I learned was everybody's like, I know you hate Floyd Roses and block them. I go, I have no Floyd Roses blocked. I don't block my Floyds at all. So that video wasn't for me. So the Grover thing might be something like that too, because I know I've done videos where I talked about tuners. I have tons of guitars with Grovers. Think about this. My main guitar, the guitar I play like every day, my SG is Grovers. It's locking Grovers. So it's Grovers. So hold on a second. Like behind me right now, I probably have like 4 of these guitars have Grovers. I've never pulled Grovers off a guitar to swap with something else. So like I said, I'm just being clear with that. I like Grovers. My favorite tuners though are Hipshot, Godo, and Ratio. They're the ones I like the most. But again, liking something is not disliking something. It's kind of like the Suhr Kiesel thing. Liking Suhr doesn't mean you have to dislike Kiesel. Liking Kiesel doesn't mean you dislike Suhr. So it's I preferable. I prefer hip shots and ratios and Godos because I like the way they feel, and I like the weight. The Grovers are a little heavier, and sometimes there's a little more mass on your headstock, which is good for tone, but sometimes bad for top heaviness. So Marcel says, "What's your current rate?" It works out to $125 an hour is what it works out to be. Is because basically it goes off of how much time a job takes, right? So for instance, if a setup should take, I'd have to do, because again, it's how you do is how long it takes to do something, right? So like a rewire job is about $125, so that's an hour. See, a setup is 45 minutes is what we allocate for a setup, So it's a percentage of that. So it would be, it's whatever, I think it's $75 or $80, whatever it is. It's what it is. That's how I figured it out. But YouTube wise, let's be super clear. Like when I did the 50 states video, if I figure out the hours to that video and what it made, it wouldn't be, I think it would be like less, it'd be less than $19 an hour for sure. Probably. I have YouTube videos that are like $6 an hour. There's videos that are more again, but you get the idea. That's where it gets a little tricky. Yeah. Marcel says, I don't feel bad at $95 an hour. Again, it's like I said, it's you have an hourly rate that, not because you charge, it's not like an attorney or somebody where I'm like, okay, it's always an hour. So if somebody brings something to me, it's not an hour. It's just, you have to figure out what your labor rates are. So you actually know, how to guesstimate what you're charging for things. But yeah, you can understand it gets a little tricky for that. Like some of these, I know for a fact, I can tell you right now, because some of these people have asked in the past. Like I've done a video where I've done all this mods to a guitar, and at the end, I'll say this is what the parts cost you, and I don't say the time factor, but my labor would have been $360. So that's what I'm saying. Somebody ships me a guitar, you're like, okay, if it's $100 to ship it to me, $100 back, that's $200. Then it's $300 in parts, that's $500, and $300 in labor, it's $800 for a $600 guitar. See? It doesn't make sense. And then you go, oh, well, I'll make the video. But the video, like I said, a 40,000 view video can make $200 and it can make $35. Again, depending on how long it is, what the time of year is. It's really tricky on the YouTube game. That's why I got to do that stuff out of this. All that stuff is just like my 50 States videos. It's just because I love doing that stuff. If you don't love doing YouTube, if you're in YouTube and you're doing it because you think you're going to make money, you can make money, but you're a sucker. This is definitely a game of love. And then if you make money, it just makes it it's a sweeter deal. That's the frosting on the cake. I just want to make sure. Let me wrap up. The last question is James. Let me hit these last super chats, especially since Michael did a $50 super chat. Man, that was huge. Thank you so much. This happy Thanksgiving and thanks for working on a holiday weekend. This isn't the work. This is the fun, but thank you for that. Some money for the Four Peaks growler. Yeah, I'm going to get one. I'm probably next week, but I'm going to get that growler. You know what, man? Thank you. I'm going to growler on you. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate that. Matthew says, Matt Heafy from Trivium. I hope I'm saying his name right. That's the way I thought I remember his name said. Plays Epiphone, describes it as mainly to keep the cost of his signature guitars affordable for those who want to buy it. I love that. That's the thing I love so much. I don't really enjoy. Well, first of all, I think it's really cool when the guitar player that endorses a guitar plays the actual guitar. That's fantastic. It's really cool, though, when a guitar player plays the affordable model of that guitar. You know what I mean? I don't think they should have to. Like, I don't think Tremonti or Petrucci or Joe Bonamassa should have to play the affordable versions of their guitars. But it is cool when somebody does. That's what I'm basically getting at. It's really, really cool. Because, I don't know, just, it's endearing, I think. Steven says, love what you do. Found a local ad that has the early wine neck jig for $100. Is it worth it if you repair 2 to 4 guitars a month? Let me look at that thing again. Because first of all, it sounds like a good price, but I want to see. Wow, that seems like a really, really, really good price. It can't be the real one, right? It's got to be some kind of knockoff version of it. I mean, so I would say, because his real ones are crazy expensive. I'm looking at it right now, and they're way, way, way more than that. So I would say if it is that for $100, like a used or something like that, then definitely do it. That's a good idea. If it's a knockoff version of some sort, I would definitely research, the quality. Obviously at that price point, it's a lot cheaper to do it. What I will tell you is this, and this is again. It depends. When you're building guitars, so you're saying you're building 2 to 4 guitars a month. I'm assuming you're building two to 4 guitars a month and you're selling them. Otherwise, you're just building an amazing collection of guitars. I think in repair and in guitar building, there's some similarities and sometimes, and one of the similarities is a time factor thing. Again, like I said, I charge per hour. So I like to get my time. I like to get everything done as fast as possible. And that translates to discounts for your customers. And that's the same as building guitars too. You know what I mean? Like I said, that Suhr guitar, when we talked about earlier, they're high price because they have a lot more hands-on time than other manufacturers. And that adds up. You know what I mean? So I would say, yeah, anytime you can cut the time factor, I found it really, really helps. So if it's a legit piece of product and you think it's going to be, a quality thing, it will definitely, if it speed up your time, do it. I have not tried it though, so I can't recommend it. It's not something I need for what I do. If you're building guitars, that's different. Like I said, I've had this conversation with Matt at Texas Toast. We talked about this a couple times back and forth about repair versus building. And he's like, yeah, he goes, people want them to do repairs. And he's like, I'm set up for building. And I go, yeah, see, and people want me to build things and I'm set up for repair. And it's a little different in my realm because in my repairing is not building. So you definitely are just repairing. In his world, building is kind of like repairing. So in other words, he can do a lot of repairs, but again, you have different jigs, different, workflow on it. And especially with me right now, my workflow has been jacked up because I've been winding pickups. I've been doing pickups. So pickups have overtaken repairs by so much that I haven't been taking on repairs for the last month or so because I got to finish the back order. If a couple of people I saw make comments about buying pickups, I'm still trying to finish pickups I have on order again because I make them by hand and it's a slow process to do everything by hand, package everything. I'm doing all of it. James says, Phil, how many electric guitars do you own and which ones do you play the least but won't sell and why? How many guitars I own? It's funny because I did a video. So here's the easy thing, James. I have a video called like my guitar collection. And in there, I think I briefly say at the end, like, this is most of them. My guitar collection is not real. And I think anybody who has a YouTube channel of any size is going to finally, or not finally, but affirm this is what I'm trying to say. It's like there's like, for instance, this gold telly that you guys seen for weeks, this is here for a video. So, I mean, I could tell you it's my guitar, but it's, it's here for a video. So it gets a little tricky. How many guitars I have. I can say how many guitars are physically in the house and then how many guitars are mine, so to speak, versus the channels. This is where it gets a little tricky. So that video that I had made of my guitar collection is pretty accurate to guitars that I think, that's my collection. Like somebody mentioned in that video, like, oh, your Squier Affinity that you had plucked from Sweetwater, you wouldn't put in that video. Well, yeah, I know it's my guitar, but I bought that guitar to make a video and I did the follow-up video on that. And I'm not done with that guitar, but eventually that guitar will move on because as cool of a guitar as it is, I didn't need a Strat when I bought it. And that's a different world than a lot of you probably can relate to. A lot of you are not probably like next week I'll go, would really be cool to do a video on a Les Paul or an Epiphone. I need an Epiphone. You know what I mean? There's a lot of times I'm buying guitars. Like I told you guys earlier today, I bought the Iron Man or the Tone King Iron Man 100 watt attenuator because I figured I'll need that, range, extra wattage for the channel. If it was me personally only, I would have bought the 30 watt. So like I said, it gets a little tricky with that. But the second part of your question is, what's a guitar you play the least but won't sell and why? I can tell you it's the easiest question. There's a guitar that literally it pops out every 5 seconds, every once in a while. It's called the Dana Scoop. It's red. It's in my Petrucci interview video in the background. It spends most of its life in the closet. I'm never going to sell it, and I never play it. It's one of the few guitars that I bought or I own because, again, it's just the guitar I've had forever and it means something to me, because I've had it forever and I'm never going to sell it because if I ever sold it, I would never buy it again. And, that's one guitar. There's probably one or two like that I have, like everybody, not everybody, like a lot of people can understand, you have a guitar, you're just not going to play it, but you're not going to get rid of it. That would be the one that's there. That would say that for the most by far. And then, I know it's not in the question, but I'll kind of hit it too. The reality though is that there's a few guitars that I play all the time personally that I just like all the time. And then there's guitars that you see on the channel all the time because they record well or they demo well and they make sense. We've talked about this before too. I don't want to play, like for instance, I really want a Knaggs. I had a Knaggs and I got it and I liked it, but I really want a specific Knaggs. I want a Honga or Hongo. I apologize, whichever one it is. But I can tell you right now, once I buy this Knaggs, if this ever happens, it won't be something I use on the channel. It's kind of like this. Perfect example. I told you this story last year during COVID, during my birthday, I bought this Hollow Body 2 Paul Reed Smith. This was definitely some crazy purchase that I did. I would never, like I said, if it wasn't for COVID, depression, alcohol, workload, everything, I wouldn't have bought this. This is just some crazy purchase I made. I don't necessarily regret it, but if you notice, it's never in videos. It's because I don't know what you would get from it if I made this in a video. If I did a demo of a pedal and I grabbed, you know, here's my crazy expensive Paul Reed Smith semi-hollow body, I would imagine a lot of you would be like, well, what of that video, sorry, is that guitar, and what is that is the pedal? So it's nice. I think it's nice to have, you know, more relatable instruments and amplifiers, you know what I mean? I think in your videos, you know, yeah, Matt Harrison says, like my Gibson R9. See, I have a Gibson R9. It's right behind me. You can see it right there. Gibson R9. However, that actually is for some other project too. So like I said, I got it. It's really great, but it's for a project. And one day, you know, that video, all those videos will make sense when they come out. Fret Level Midnight says, sell me your purple PV Wolfgang. You know, it's funny. I would definitely probably sell that one day. I bought it. Like I said, I bought it before Eddie passed, and I wanted a Wolfgang, and I wanted purple, and I wanted Music Man. You just can't, you know, again, like our conversation earlier, perfect example, right? I'm not going to pay $5,000 for the Suhr. So what is in that vein? What can I get that's quality? And, you know, and that's what I go. Same thing. It's like, how do I get a purple Wolfgang, you know, that I like? So I went with the PV. Very nice. However, here's what's really funny to me. I really consider myself, like, when it comes to Van Halen fan, I'm more of a Wolfgang fan. I'm more of the new Van Halen sound fan. Like a 5150 amp in a Wolfgang is like my thing. Where I think more traditional Eddie Van Halen's would be like using an old Marshall and like a Stripe Series Kramer or something like that. However, that being said, I love my Stripe Series EVH guitar. That's the one I play all the time. That guitar is actually in rotation playing all the time. I just like it. I would love to find a Charvel that played and sounded like that guitar. So I love it. So the Wolfgang never gets played. I kind of feel bad all the time. So like I said, I don't want to sell it, but I would consider it just because, like I said, it never gets played. I feel so bad. So, all right. Now, I think we did it. We did some giveaways. I have some more giveaways for next week. Some cool guitar straps and some other stuff and another pedal. So we'll do that next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, I wanted this to be a little bit more informal, just kind of, you know, talk, give some gifts away, do some cool stuff. Hopefully you guys had some fun. I know I had some fun. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I hope you guys had a fantastic holiday. If you have a holiday, you know, I know Canada had their holiday a while back. And on that note, I'm gonna let you guys go. And as always, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me every Friday. Next Friday will be the same time, same channel, same everything. And until next week, I want to thank you for your time and